Beer, rum, and rock and roll. Saving rock, one conversation at a time. With Randy Legault and Beau Shiminsky.
In 2014, Motley Crue announced their final tour, putting an end to almost 35 years on the road. To make it official, they signed an unprecedented contract.
You know I'm a dreamer.
In the years since, Motley Crue became more popular than ever and gained an entirely new legion of fans who, along with die-hard crew heads, demanded the band tear up that stupid contract and come out of retirement. They knew that if they were ever to stand on stage together again, that contract would have to be destroyed. Well, destruction has never been an issue for Motley Crue.
All right, Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll is back, and so is Motley fucking Crue.
Holy shit.
Before we get into what we think,
Okay.
this is a bit lengthy, but I want to read it, and then we can dissect it.
Okay, good.
Because
Yeah.
I love this band, warts and all,
Okay.
so let's go for it. So this is the official press release on their website, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 6 years after signing a cessation of touring agreement, which is we're not going to tour again,
Right.
the Motley Crue contract is off the table because a whole new generation of crew heads are relentlessly demanding for the band to come back together. Following the huge success of the Netflix biopic The Dirt, Motley Crue has seen a massive surge in a new audience, and the band, best known for breaking the rules, has destroyed their cessation of touring contract in true Motley Crue fashion by literally blowing it up, which is what we just saw and heard. After 35 years together on stage and 30 years since Dr. Feelgood, so there's an anniversary vibe there, I would say.
They're drawing all the angles together.
Yes.
Yeah.
The members of Motley Crue parted ways without speaking to each other after their final show, December 31st, New Year's Eve, obviously, 2015. Vince, Nicky, Mick, and Tommy didn't come together again until 2018 to participate in the making of the Dirt movie, which unexpectedly brought them closer together, including seeing them head back to the recording studio, for better or worse. We talked about that.
We did.
After having gone in their own directions for several years, the fuse was lit. Okay. The Dirt currently enjoys an audience score of 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics, not so much, but audience, 95. And its massive global success earlier this year saw Motley Crue's popularity rush to new heights, catapulting the band's music back to the top of the worldwide charts, with a younger 18 to 44 demographic now representing 64% of the band's fan base. In the 6 months following the release of The Dirt, Motley Crue has celebrated a meteoric rise of almost 350% in streams of their music across all streaming platforms. However, most of the new fans have never seen any of the legendary live shows that Crue heads have relished for close to 4 decades. I know you're not as big a Crue head as I am, so I'm curious to know.
Well, no one's going to
what
see
you
Motley
think.
Crue the way that the older generation had.
No.
That's a moot point regarding their
Right.
little statement there.
Right.
And they got to know that generally their biggest fans all look at this as a bit of a money grab.
Money's always a part of it, for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
So you got that connotation with it.
Yeah.
And if they can
Yeah.
even pull it off, and if they're going to disappoint anybody, there's
Yeah.
lots of unknowns that are going to happen here.
Yeah.
And it all sounds great. It all sounds like,
on
we're going to
paper.
take over the fucking world, and
Yeah.
we're going to do, 1 billion shows and tour the world for 3 years. And
They're doing stadiums with Def Leppard and Poison. See, that's a lot of seats. I don't see it selling out.
no.
60, 70,000 seats? I don't care who you got with you.
And Def Leppard is touring all the time.
yeah. And Poison's
Poison-
not that big.
Not really. No.
I mean, it's a good package for a 20,000 seater.
Sure. Do a little arenas, around the thing, but this is not. I think they got grander vision than what's possible
Yeah.
here. And to go, the Motley Crue, we're going to tear it up because we break all the rules kind of thing is a bit, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just don't think they're capable. Like, I think that some of them are.
Well, these are the questions, right?
Right? Like Mick Mars, I mean, he just...
How's he doing? I don't know.
Well, you've read the backlash of him saying he gets free tickets.
He's gonna, if this happens, yeah,
right?
Free tickets for everybody.
Right? And he's been kind of backpedaling from that and wish
Yeah.
that he never said it and stuff like that. But we're looking at it, watching him on stage. It's tough, right?
It is, but he could still play.
He could still play.
That was 6 years ago, though, right? So
That's another
5
reason.
years ago, whatever.
5 years ago. It's
Yeah.
probably not gotten much better. If anything, it might have gotten worse.
I'm more concerned about Vince, which is crazy.
But that's the clearly the question on everybody's mind is
yeah,
how is he going to be able to do it?
he has to get his shit together. Diet, vocal coach, whatever he needs, especially diet. Like he could lose 50 easy. He can't be working that stage and Motley Crue looking like and sounding like he does today. No fucking way.
No
that
way.
cannot happen. It'll be an embarrassment. He can't do that.
That's a lot of work, especially when you've let it go for quite a while.
Yeah. And he was never a great singer live. However, he was a great frontman at one time.
Well, he'd run around and he'd bounce around, and
He was awesome. It's sad to watch him now. Like, it makes me sad because he looks like you could read about him online. Vince Neil died today. I mean, that's how bad he looks. Like, he looks like a heart attack waiting to happen.
Yeah, and there was lots of jokes.
Vince Neil. And that's all funny and everything. But again, there's a sadness to it all, right?
Yeah.
I just hope Nikki Sixx, who's kind of the legacy guy of the band, like the controller of the band, I would hope that he's set certain things in place that'll make this successful and not embarrassing. The other thing too, like if you watch the Blu-ray of that final show, right? From Staples Center in LA on New Year's Eve, which I've watched it many times.
Right.
And Vince Neil's not great, but he's passable. And you think, okay, I just thought, I'm glad this is the end because it's right on the cusp of being embarrassing.
Right.
Vince Neil, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But the show was fucking unbelievable. Like, I don't know how you top that show. Like, there's big shoes to fill there that way.
And they were
Like,
doing it at the time, like they were always one-upping their shows to the point, roller coasters.
it was incredible. It's up there. Yes, exactly. It's
Right,
that.
right.
It's up there with Kiss and Metallica. It's an incredible show. I don't know how you top this. Like, they went out on a high. Here's another thing I think. I don't think this is some grand plan either. This is just my opinion, obviously. I don't think when they signed that thing and did the press conference and said, this is it, I truly believe that they thought it was it.
100%.
Like when you watch that,
100%,
back to that Blu-ray,
that
if you
is
watch,
exactly what it is.
if
but
you watch it, Vince Neil's crying on stage.
it's over.
I mean, you have to be pretty cynical to think that was fucking fake. They thought it was over. But I think, and you mentioned money, and yeah, that's always a part of it. I think A, they're bored, and B, they miss that rush of the crowd and performing.
Oh, I think that's always going to be part of it, for sure.
I think that's more of it than the money. These guys are
But there's
fucking
somebody
rich.
saying, guess what? You got this film, everybody's doing it. You guys can go do a world tour. But I just
We'll
don't
see.
I just don't know if they can do it, We had our questions about Axl. Remember, with
Okay, speaking of Axl, there's a guy. Overweight, blah, blah, blah. Got it together. Look at him. On time every night. He's fairly fit,
right,
right?
fairly.
If he can do it, I hope Vince can do it. Well, he can still drop 10, maybe.
I'm going to do 10 push-ups for you right now. Yeah.
And his voice is great. So this gives me hope. I mean, Axl did it. Maybe Vince can do it. I don't know. A couple quotes I love. So back in 2014, Nikki Sixx says the only loophole is if all 4 band members agree to do it, as far as this contract, right? That's the loophole. We could override our own contract, but we know that will never happen. This is what he says.
They're committed to
Oh
it.
yeah, there are people in this band who will refuse to do it ever again, and you're talking to one of them. There's no amount of money that could ever make me do it again because I have so much pride in how we're ending it. I mean, it sounds crazy to read that, right?
I don't know. I agree with a lot of things about going out on a high note. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
No, you hope they do.
I just don't see this being a high note.
I don't know. Well, back to my point. How do you top that last tour? I don't know how you do that.
But also you're banking on other bands to help bring in the crowds. I mean, that's not a high note. That's a festival.
Well, it is stadiums, but yeah, you're right. That doesn't bother me that much. It's just, can they deliver a spectacular show again? I don't know. Here's another one. If anybody ever, and I don't believe anybody ever would call any other bandmates and say, hey, it's been 10 years. Let's do 10 shows, $1 million each. The way we've set it up, including this conversation right now, we'd have so much egg on our face. We have so much pride that alone would stop us. Well, get out the fucking eggs, because
Right. The pride just left the building. The pride just left the building.
hold my beer.
You blew up the pride. That's what you blew up at the end of the
Pride
shot.
just left the
Yeah.
building.
Right.
Yeah. And hey, I hope it's great. I really do. It all hinges on health. Like, I can deal with Mick Mars. He's got a disease, and if he can play, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
It hinges on Vince for me.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot.
Yeah, I
and
know.
will
Tommy and Nicky are going to play. That's no problem.
I will not pay a ton of dough to watch his bloated ass run back and forth and sing half the words. I won't. As hardcore as I am, I won't fucking do it.
No. And
I'm going to sign a fucking contract.
And you sign a contract right now.
right here. Oh, shit.
I'll get the paper and the pen. You've mentioned this a number of times about a rock star being a rock star, and that means
Being fit.
Being fit.
I can forgive the vocal. If he's fit, I can forgive the vocal even.
Right. And also just there's so many years of it kind of being comical that is burned in a lot of fans' brains.
Oh, his vocal, you mean?
Well, his vocal or his
Yeah.
what he's done with his life, falling off stages and this kind of thing, right?
Right.
That it became comical that there's going to be some people that want to see if he could pull it off, but there are a lot of people that are going to be sitting there going, I don't want to take the chance. I'm not going to spend the money, or I don't really care anymore, right? Like, you remember the Eagles, Hell Freezes Over kind of thing. There was a lot of people that wanted to go see that for sure, but a lot of people were, really? You guys are, you're grabbing the cash, and it left a bad taste in your mouth, or about the band in particular, right?
Yeah. But there's so much time went between that one. That one doesn't bother me.
It doesn't, but
This has only been
in the same
It's only been
realm.
5 years.
Right,
This is
I
the
know.
problem.
It feels longer. It feels way longer.
Yeah. Maybe that's the motivation. Well, we're going to show you motherfuckers. And I hope they do. They're not alone. Farewell tours that weren't. The Who, 82. Kiss, 2000. The Eagles, 2005.
Right.
Farewell Again, right? Ozzy, 92. No More Tours tour. Now he's on the No More Tours 2 tour. Say that 3 times fast. Priest, 2011. Nine Inch Nails, 2009. Sabbath, 2000. Scorpions, 2010. Doobies, 82.
Yeah.
Sabbath, 99. I mean, it's a long list.
Right.
They just can't stay away, because I do believe they fucking love it. I just, deep down, that's what it is. Fuck, you can only have so much money. They love it. And they can't, it's like a drug, man.
Right.
I really think that's it.
Well,
okay, we'll see.
We shall see.
We shall see in 2020.
Right. We'll see what happens. Would you go?
If Vince gets his shit together, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll know going in, it's probably not going to, production-wise, it probably won't top that last one, but I'll still go.
Yeah.
A stadium show is a different thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be a roller coaster, for example.
No.
Right?
No.
So I don't know what Tommy Lee's going to have up his sleeve. But next thing I want to talk about is Kim Thale from Soundgarden was talking to Eddie Trunk. And apparently there's some music, some demos with Cornell's vocal on them, like an album's worth.
That he has?
Here's the thing. He doesn't have it.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what he says. It's entirely possible that we could put out another record, because that's what we were doing. We definitely have another record in us. Stuff that's written, stuff that's demoed and recorded. All that we'd need to do is take the audio files that are available. I'd tighten up the guitar. Ben Shepherd would put on the bass. Matt would get the drums he wants. We get the producer we want to make it sound like Soundgarden. And yes, we could do that. Here's the trick. There shouldn't be an obstacle, he said, and there isn't so far, but they need those files, and somebody else has them. He said there's partnerships and property things to work out. So I bet you it happens, because I think
no one's going to sit on that and just leave it in a
Why
crate
would they?
somewhere. Exactly.
Why
There's
would
no
they do that?
reason to leave it in there.
right.
They're just probably trying to get the best deal.
It's just money.
It's
money always, yes.
I want to believe it's all about the spirit of rock and roll, Randy, but it ain't. It ain't.
It's both. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Because
Yeah.
that last album they did, King Animal, was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can take his vocal and make a Soundgarden album, I'm all over it.
Even if he's doing demos or whatever files they have, he's so captivating of a singer.
His demo kicks ass.
Right. His demos are just fucking full on better than 90% of stuff out there.
For
Like,
sure.
He is just on a different level.
He really
that
is.
guy. So yeah, they're not going to sit on it. That'll be happening. Guaranteed.
Back to guys who should have retired a while ago, I would say. Ozzy. No more tours too. In 2020, he's touring with Manson.
Oh.
So that's a good double bill, I think. I'd go to that. I wouldn't travel to it, but if it came to town, I'd go.
Yeah, I'd rather see, I'd like that connection of two madmen
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I guess it kicks off May 27th in Atlanta and ends up in Vegas July 31st. So yeah, Ozzy's touring in support of a new album coming out early next year called Ordinary Man,
Right.
which we will review for sure.
Mhm.
I know he's spoon-feeding some tracks, but I believe we should listen to the whole thing.
He's not spoon feeding him. Sharon is.
Sharon is, of course. He's not doing shit. He's getting spoon-fed.
Yeah, he's right. He's in his chair. Yeah.
Yeah, because an isolated track is just that. I want to hear the whole body of work to make a call and make a judgment on it. So we will do that for sure. So here's what Ozzy says about Marilyn. Marilyn is killer live. He's so fucking out there. And if I think that, then look out. We're all fucked. That's what he says. Then Marilyn says, I've toured with Ozzy many times and it's been fucking spectacular. I'm honored to do it again. This is one not to miss. And I think it would be good. Man, Ozzy's right at the end of it though. Did you see him on the American Music Awards? He was sitting in a big chair though.
Yeah.
And then he got up and it was like, oh God, is he going to fall over?
The godfather of heavy metal is going out again. But you know what you're going to see? You're just going to see him kind of there. And
holding on to that mic stand for all it's worth.
Get me off the stage now, Sharon, take me home, right?
Yes.
But if you haven't seen him, you should see him. You should always
He's
see
a
Ozzy,
legend, man,
right?
and I will go. If it comes through, I will go. Okay, we talked about the Black Crowes on the last show, where they're going to get back together. Well, the mystery's fucking over.
Right.
They've played.
Yeah.
So they played the Bowery Ballroom in New York to about 600, and they played the Troubadour in Hollywood for about 400.
I heard it was really good.
Well, fuck, if you can go by YouTube, it was really good, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of questions that have been answered, because I was like, who they're going to play with? Well, that's been answered. They're playing with these Nashville cats, so it is just the Robinson brothers
Right.
and these other dudes.
So it's not a Black Crowes reunion, in my opinion.
Not a full reunion, but like to your point, you just need the brothers and off you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're hardcore like I am, it's a bit disappointing for sure. So they're doing a 46 date, 2020 tour, and they're celebrating that first album, Shake Your Money Maker.
Right.
They're doing it in its entirety and then doing some hits.
Doing some stuff after, yeah.
So we were talking about the band members and why they're not coming back. So here's the quote from Chris. That was the first thing Rich and I agreed on. We don't want anyone from the solo groups. We don't want anyone from the past. So they don't want any past bullshit coming up. That's
Or
what it
having to
sounds
deal
like.
with it on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Right? They
'Cause
want a clear head.
Something would come up, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Rich goes on to say, no one is here to be a dick. We love this music. We're musicians. We're brothers. We love each other. We love this opportunity. Changing the context with Chris and I and all new people is a much healthier place for us. I can wrap my head around that.
I can too, especially because Gorman wrote the book and
Yeah, that's not happening.
wait, you knew one was already not there for sure.
Yeah. Another thing, I thought of you because you like jamming, as do I, like the Allman Brothers and that jammy shit, which the Black Crowes did a ton of.
Yeah.
You'll be disappointed to hear Chris say, I think this is pure. We went off into a lot of things. There's no jamming, no extraneous stuff. This is the purest Black Crowes that people first heard. I hope we reconnect with some people who lost their way with us because of all of our other shit we were doing. And that would be me. I mean, I like some jamming, but those last couple albums and last couple tours, too much of that. Like you could feel, they'd go off and you could feel the energy leave the fucking venue, man.
See, I get the sense of when you know you overstayed your welcome.
They overdid
it in some ways.
Yep.
But I think that was the power of the band and how they got those songs was not having this perfectly crafted tune and let's go, boys. You know, it was like
Right.
They got that stuff and it sounded like a jam. The song sounded like a jam.
Right.
In a lot of ways where it was just free flowing. Really important band for me in my youth.
Oh, man. Yeah,
was
I love
hearing
them
those records and going, man, I love the feel of what's going on here. And it wasn't put together in a studio. It didn't feel that way to me.
Yeah, I agree. They're sticking to the record on this tour, which I got no problem with that.
Well,
they're
especially with the people that they're going to bring back, they want to hear the songs, right?
And you saw the YouTube footage too. They sound good. Chris sounds great. Yeah.
Even when he's not sounding great, he still captivates you.
Man, it made me go. I was on YouTube and I posted I posted on social media too, a show from '92, Southern Music Tour from Germany.
That's such a great record.
God. You forget. Oh, I get goosebumps. You forget everybody in that band pretty much just stood there and fucking let her rip. Chris was the entertainment in that
for sure.
show. And he was all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I mean, he's older now. You're not going to get quite that, but man, you forget. At least I did until I revisited. And
And all eyes are on him, but all ears are on the band and all eyes are on him.
Oh, man.
Right?
Okay, Triumph. You like Triumph? I love Triumph.
Love Triumph.
Up to a point, as all bands.
Up to, what was
Thunder 7?
Thunder 7. That was it.
I went a little past that, but not much. Anyways, the reason I'm bringing them up is on November 16th, they reformed. Just the three of them. They performed for 300 superfans at Metalworks Studio, which is Gilmour's studio that he runs. That's his job now.
Yeah.
In Mississauga, Ontario. 3-song set. They did Lay It on the Line, Magic Power, and When the Lights Go Down, which is off their first album. It's fucking wicked.
Right.
The reason they did this, they shot it for the Banger Films doc. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
And I'm sure they're still playing great.
Well, they played like a decade ago. They did Sweden Rocks, which seems weird. It's this festival in Sweden. And they did Rocklahoma in the States. And that was it. That was 10 years ago. Gilmour says, Mike, Rick, and I are thrilled to revisit Triumph's history and especially to express our gratitude to our amazing fans. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're excited to be working with Banger Films, and this documentary is our way of reaching out to all those people that have touched us along the journey to say thanks. I mean, they're just they're a class act. There's no doubt.
Any jumpsuits going to be involved in this?
Rick and his fucking jumpsuit. Oh, you'll see it in the doc, I'm sure.
Well, we saw it in person at the thing at the National Music
his
Center.
Fucking unitard.
It was about a size 6X, just so you know.
Dude.
So small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I can't wait to see the doc.
Yes, me
and
too.
I can't wait for them to let people know their story because I don't think enough people know about them.
Oh, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
This guy's name has come up more than once on the podcast, KK Downing. The reason you're like, why are you talking about KK Downing again? It's official. He's not going to be part of the 50th anniversary reunion. Here's what he says. I'm taken aback with the compelling fan outcry for me to participate in Judas Priest's 50th anniversary celebrations this year. Consequently, I felt the right thing to do was to reach out to my former bandmates to gather their thoughts on this, and their response is they are not receptive to my participation in the band, and they do not intend to include me in the 50th anniversary celebrations. Fucking, I am so bummed by that.
I just got one
happened
question
there?
Why? Exactly.
Well,
Why?
we'll never know. They're very close to the chest kind of band, right? Because if he joined, I would travel to see that. Like, I would be all over that, but not without him.
Yeah.
Now that Tipton is officially gone,
Right.
he can't play anymore.
No.
Are you kidding? He started the band.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to know why. And maybe he'll write a book, and does he have a book?
He's got a book already, but maybe he needs a follow-up.
Maybe it's another book. I haven't read the book. Have you read his book? Is it good?
Yeah. Heavy Duty.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a gooder. I think some of the things in the book are maybe why he's not back.
I see. I got to read the book
But I mean,
now,
come on.
Yeah.
Time. Come on. Time
Especially
heals.
50th anniversary. It's like,
He adds, however, the great news for the fans is that it will be continuing to forge ahead. I'm looking very much forward to seeing you all on the road in 2020. Together, we will take on the world. So I'm not sure what that means exactly. He's been doing the odd gig, like we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And him and Ripper Owens, who sang for Priest, and Dave Elfson, the bass player for Megadeth, they've been kind of doing the odd show, which looks really cool. Because I'm a KK guy. He's the coolest guy in that band.
For sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
him and that fucking V.
I know.
Anyway,
And that blonde hair just flipping around. It's just,
dude.
Yeah.
Grammy nominations came out. All right? So this won't take long.
Yeah, do they still have a hard rock category with hard rock in it?
Being rock fans, this will not take long.
Right.
But I think you're going to like what I'm going to say here. because we've talked and reviewed each one of these bands' albums on the show.
Oh, good. I haven't followed any of this, so.
Best rock performance, Gary Clark Jr., This Land, and Rival Sons, Too Bad. So awesome.
Those are
Right?
two of the candidates.
Yeah, I won't
You won't
bore you
bore
with
me
who
with
the
the
rest
other
are because
three?
we don't
Okay.
care
Right.
about who the rest
Okay.
are.
All right.
Best metal performance, Tool, Tempest, which was both our favorite songs off that album.
Yeah.
Kudos to us.
Fucking
See
right
that?
on. We pick it out.
Yes, we do. Best rock song, Tool, Fear Inoculum. Now, here's my question here. And Gary Clark Jr., This Land, best rock song. Back to Tool. How can you be nominated best metal performance for a song and then best rock performance for another song off the same album? You're either rock or you're metal. This is just, what?
Well,
That's the Grammys for ya.
Grammys don't make any
That
sense.
makes no
Like,
sense.
It's just,
Like you got Tool in the same category as Vampire Weekend? What? Anyway, and one more. Best rock album. Rival Sons, Feral Roots got the nod. So fucking, that's the album of the year for me. I'm glad they got the attention.
well, much bigger news than the Grammys, my friend.
Yes,
Much
Yes.
bigger.
I would agree.
We've been trying so hard to get these guys on this show.
Yep.
Todd Kerns, Brent Fitz, from
Yes.
Slash, Miles featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators.
Yep.
We're here.
Right at this table.
Right here. And we're going to share that with everybody in a few minutes, but we should talk a little bit about these guys and
Yes.
and what they mean to the rock world because
Yeah.
they're serious motherfuckers.
They are.
They
They're
are.
serious fucking players.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, yeah, like Beau just said, they're in Slash's band. So that's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Right.
You think?
Yeah. But these guys have shared stages with Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons, Brad Whitford, Lemmy, Dee Snider, Michael Monroe from Hanoi Rocks.
Here, I'm going to leave while you finish the list, and
Yeah,
then I'll top up my
exactly.
drink.
You
Yeah. It's so long.
You can go
Yeah.
and come back.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are getting it done. And yes, they're super talented. They're both multi-instrumentalists, bass, guitar, keyboards, drums.
Vocals.
Fuck, what do you need?
Right.
And they're nice and they're fucking cool and they're rock geeks just like us.
There's a nice, and then there's this kind of nice.
Right.
They're just on a different level. I think on all aspects.
Well,
really.
they took the time to talk to us. They didn't
Well,
have to
they
do
did,
that.
but just even any kind of interaction I've had with them, it's or I've seen them have with others.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
They're good
and
souls.
very respectful. And maybe it's
Yeah.
the Canadian thing. I like to think it is, you know?
I think there's something to that. They were in town with their band Toque,
Yeah.
performing around the Grey Cup celebration. So
Right.
when we interviewed them, they were playing a tailgate party for Grey Cup the next day, just to give people a perspective on
Right.
when we talked to them.
Mhm.
If you don't know what Toque is, it's 4 Canadian dudes playing Canadian coverage
Hits.
songs.
Yeah.
Canadian hits.
Generally from the 80s.
Yes, generally
Yes.
from the 80s. Celebration of Canadian rock and roll.
Okay, enough of us blabbing about how fucking great these guys
Sure.
are. Let's get their asses in these seats.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yep.
Let's hit it.
We are stoked as hell to welcome Brent Fitz and Todd Kerns to the Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll podcast.
Finally.
Woo!
Wow.
Oh, we should call
We're
it
big
maybe
fans.
beer, rum, coffee, tea. What are we doing?
I don't
here?
have coffee right now.
I'm having a cup of tea like a
He's
gentleman.
got the Breathe Easy going right
Podcast.
now.
Breathe
The
Easy.
Breathe Easy.
Yeah.
He's got to sing in about an hour and a half. So
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, thanks for taking the time out, guys. This is fucking
No, this
wicked.
is
Always,
fantastic.
always.
It's great to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Pleasure
Yeah.
is ours.
it looks better in person.
Oh, of course.
It's a great studio. Look at this.
I'm better looking,
Thanks.
right?
Yeah.
Wow. We go way
How's
back.
my hair?
Hair and makeup went well.
Just had to shine the dome. That's
Exactly. Okay, let's get to it, man. Let's talk Toque.
Let's talk Toque.
Now,
Yeah.
over the past few months, you guys have done some really cool fucking gigs. Couple big festivals, hanging with Styx
Yeah.
and Vince Neil. You did the NHL Heritage Classic.
Yeah.
Now you're in town for the Grey Cup.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
seems to be
It's a good
the,
run.
Right?
It seems to be the new thing is attached to NHL or CFL or any sort of, major event like that seems
Yeah.
to, we get attached to, which is pretty exciting for guys from, the prairies like this.
Totally.
It's those kind of things are, dream gigs really.
35,000 people at that in the snow.
Dude, that was crazy, and it was infinitely colder than any band should ever be playing. And for
Right.
some reason, Toque tends to get thrown into these freezing cold situations. We did the Grey Cup. Was that 17 or 18 that we did that? 2017.
Last year.
2018, yeah. And it was like freezing cold on the Friday night we played outside.
That's tough.
And it was like, wow, dude, I haven't done that. In the Age of Electric played a New Year's show at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto, 1,000 years ago in the 90s or whatever.
Right.
And that was nuts. And I was like, You know, but I always remember that because your guitar, you're like, how does this stay in tune? How do I move my fingers? Because I can't even like feel them. It's crazy. It's a crazy experience.
But the problem is we shouldn't be complaining because we're from the prairies, but we came from Vegas.
Yeah, but
that just makes it worse.
My friends keep saying that. My friends keep saying that. They're kind of, oh, come on, you're a Saskatchewan guy. Now you live in Vegas. You're all way. I'm like, dude, from Saskatchewan.
Do we talk like that?
Actually, wait, do your impression of a super Canadian.
Yeah.
Todd's got a good one.
It's more of a Saskatchewan. Hey, what are you gonna?
He's a little bit nasally, a little bit up there.
Right.
And you guys gonna play it? You know, that kind of thing.
We,
It's all of our friends.
but we, you know, I'm like, yeah, I live in Vegas now, but even when I lived in Saskatchewan, I wasn't outside playing guitar. It was like it's cold outside.
No.
You are dressed for it, and then you do something else. Immediately get out of the cold.
Well, just go stand by the heaters for the football players. They have these big propane tanks,
Right.
You could just.
Yeah,
Well,
those
that
poor
gig in
guys,
Regina, there was these massive in the corners in front of us heaters.
Right. Yeah.
But the day before when we got there, we were like, it's not going to be so bad.
It was
outside.
awesome,
It was
yeah.
nice. And then that
It
morning,
was literally a blizzard, and you were standing outside playing guitars, which is, you know, and there's like snow on the stage. I've never played on a stage that was like snow.
That's
like, I
tough
was
on
like,
the fret hand, I would
dude,
imagine.
it was like, it was crazy
Actually, it's probably
challenging.
okay in the sense that because then you play enough guitar that you don't need the.
well, we had fingerless gloves,
well,
which really don't help. But the heaters didn't work. That's the
Right.
thing. Like
It's as if your brain and your hand are not in. You know, you're trying. I usually move this here, but I can't tell if anything's going to happen. You just kind of.
Was that Kerry King from Slayer the other day? That he wasn't.
Did you see
working
that clip?
out. You see that?
Kerry came from Slayer. He's cutting into one of their songs. I'm not a Slayer guy, so I don't know which fucking song it was. But he kept fucking up. And he kept trying and trying. He just bailed on it.
The brain
Really?
just
He
shut
left
down
the stage,
on that
came
one
back
lick,
out
right?
and did the riff.
I never saw that.
Like,
Well,
it was weird,
That's
man.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
I got to say about the football thing, though, you guys have been doing a plan for hockey and football, and then we see the Super Bowl announcements come out. And it's not rock and roll,
Good
Right.
point.
I know.
right?
J-Lo
Like
and
it makes a
Shakira.
lot
That's
of
right, J-Lo
sense.
and
The
Shakira.
stuff you guys do that's connected to NHL, football,
It's cool.
sports, anything like that, right?
We'll hold on to it as long as it stays
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
Great. Because
Let's-
even like
let's-
I played the Jets season opener.
Right.
This
What a
couple months
thrill
ago.
that must have been for you, man.
It was great because, you know, as a hometown
Yeah.
fan of the team forever and come back and get to play rock and roll with my hockey team.
Right.
And
Right.
the team is, you know, rooted in the prairies. And they were like, no, we want to have something that's authentic and blue collar and cool rock and roll and hockey. And I'm like, yeah, it still works there. But
Yeah.
again, in the States, it's, you know, it's a different level, different audience. And the
Yeah.
Super Bowl is beyond a sporting event.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
well,
showcase.
that's more about viewers at home than it is about
Sure.
football.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
we get it. We just cry
It
when
is.
we.
I know.
when
Yeah,
we
of
get it.
course. Yeah.
It was kind of cool when Prince did his thing
Yes.
back.
Oh, that
and
was
they had
incredible.
The Who
Yeah, yeah.
and Aerosmith and Paul McCartney and so many.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Slash played it a few years. Actually, we had a great weird moment with Slash. We played like Seattle. And Slash had to go play the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, right. He played.
And left for the day and came
Oh,
back
I
on tour
remember
with us.
that.
But we were on tour and he just was like, I got to play the Super Bowl. So he went, I think, with
play the
Fergie and
Super
Black
It
Eyed
was the
Peas.
Black Eyed
That's
Peas.
right.
Yeah. He came out of the ground going,
Yes. That was pretty badass.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was maybe one of the last, you know, cool rock and
Yeah.
roll things.
I mean,
One day
who
it'll
knows?
happen again.
Yeah, who knows? There's a lot of young bands playing rock and roll. A lot of bands that opened for us on the last Slash tour. Dirty
Fucking
Honey,
great bands.
Bishop Gunn. They're all like these
Joyous
kind of
Wolf.
Joyous
They're
Wolf.
awesome.
They're fantastic.
Great band. They played here, I
Zeppelin
think.
even
Played
a little
here.
bit. Wait.
That singer is phenomenal.
He's great. He's like out
He's
of
like a
control.
fucking spaghetti. That
He's
guy.
out of control. He would do backflips for us. We'd be like,
Insane.
me and Frank would be standing on the side stage going like, and he would like, he could do backflips. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it.
So
Great.
who picks those bands? Does Slash have a hand in that, or
He does.
Yeah, I think they kind of get pitched, you know, and they, I don't know how the
great choices?
Yeah, those have been
Yeah.
particularly great choices, and they're all, you know,
Monster Truck
in their
opened
20s
for us
Monster Truck
years ago
from
on their very first
Hamilton,
Canadian
Ontario.
tour.
Yeah.
We saw that show with Monster Truck.
Couple
it
times,
was-
yeah.
They were great.
Okay, let's talk Toque albums. So Giver came out, what, 3 years ago now? Fucking time flies.
Is it that
eh?
long?
Yeah.
already?
I think
Wow.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you got the new one, Never Enough?
Yes.
Yep. Well,
Tell
that
me
just
about
came
this
out
year,
more
yeah.
recently, but we actually recorded it at the same time we were working on the Slash record, and we held
Yeah,
on to it
yeah.
because we thought, well, we're doing a new Slash record and a whole
Right.
tour. Why don't we just find the appropriate time to not overlap? So as soon as
sure.
the Slash tour ended, which was this August,
Yep.
we thought, well, we can do some. We had some Toque dates.
Literally
coming up.
went from the Slash tour into the promo run of the Never Enough CD. We immediately went up to a CD release party in Winnipeg and all that stuff. So yeah. Otherwise, it would have made, to release it in the middle of the Slash run would have been
bit of a conflict
almost
there.
unnecessary.
We did do a couple little singles here and there just for fun.
Yeah, we did release a song here or there, like Ironic
yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
But we wanted the song, which was kind of really important on the record, which was an original song to actually, because we also shot a music video.
We were talking about like trying to release it, and it was kind of like, dude, we may as well wait and have an opportunity to milk it as much as possible.
With it. Yeah,
it's a good video too. The production is great. It looks
did a great job.
Where was that location? It was really cool.
It's an old
pump station,
pump
James
station,
Street pump station
water pump
downtown
yeah.
Winnipeg. Again, it's got a prairie twist to it, and we had a great.
It was freezing
local
cold there too.
producer director.
Everything Toque related has to be in the freezing.
Well, it makes sense. It's kind of yin and yang there a little
We're
bit.
just hoping tomorrow's okay.
Where did you record that record? The new one.
Corey Churko has his own studio in LA.
So he produced,
So yeah,
both of them pretty much.
He produces them. He's amazingly talented in so many ways. It's like,
well, it sounds phenomenal.
yeah, he's
It
bananas.
does sound great.
Yeah. So we just basically did it in piecemeal here and there when we could.
Again, this whole band started with, we didn't really have a long-term plan. We were just like, we should do these songs.
But a lot of it also comes down to, I remember just driving around LA with Corey and listening to like the Queen City Kids. And I've told this story before where it's just this
Prairie reference too,
surreal
though, right?
moment. Yeah, like totally like just these guys in a car in Hollywood driving around and thinking to myself like, that car, all these other cars around us, they don't know this song.
No way.
No one knows
There's
this
no
song
way.
except the three people in this car right now.
Yeah.
Because it resonates with us so purely because it's like all the music we grew up on and all we're just so passionate about it. And I remember just kind of saying, wouldn't it be cool to record these? And just sort of this ball started to roll. And of course, Corey having a studio, just the next thing you knew, he was, he just sort of takes the ball and runs and, hey, we should do this. And okay.
So how do you pick the tunes? Like you guys arm wrestle over what you want to fucking
And originally
pick
it was
or
actually
what?
kind of easy because everybody just sort of had their list and whatever correlated, we kind of just chose,
Oh, I see. Anything that overlapped?
I mean, some of it was kind of like, in retrospect, I kind of go, I can't believe we actually took on things so like mainstream in terms of like Working for the Weekend or something like that. Seems almost in retrospect like kind of almost too obvious, but it kind of felt like, look, we're making a record with like Orphan and the Queen City Kids.
I was just going to say, those aren't obvious.
Yeah, those are super not
But
obvious.
those were at the top of our list
But
because
they
we
were
were
the
like,
ones
these
that
are the
were-
songs nobody would know, but they mean so much to us as musicians and influencers.
And Street Heart, Street Heart's such a big one for us because they were huge in, regionally to us. They were like a big deal. So to get to do those songs. And then Roller, because with some of it, Fantasy by Alden Nova, Roller by April Wine, Working for the Weekend, songs like that, even Go for a Soda by Kim Mitchell. Those songs are pretty pretty well known in the States.
Yeah, here and got some traction.
For some reason,
there,
they
Some in the States,
are known down there. Yeah, but
well, Slash always, I think he knew the April Wine songs, of course.
he right away, when I gave him the CD, because
Yeah, like what did he think? That was a question I
I
had
gave him the
too,
CD, we were like,
way later though.
but we were getting ready to do
the first one.
the current record, Living the Dream. So I just happened to be in LA, and I gave him one, and because I had one, and and then he texted me when he got home. He goes, "Is that Fantasy by Alden Nova?"
Yes, it is.
I go, "Yeah." He was pretty blown away by it, enough so that he thought, as soon as we needed someone to replace Frank, when Frank he had to go home for health reasons,
Yeah.
we his suggestion was, "What about that guy from Toque?" And I was like, "Yeah, Corey's the perfect choice to have fill in." But I just thought, like, of all the people for him to choose, it was like he liked what he heard.
He must trust you guys
He does
to do that, right?
I
Like
think
you
he
guys
does,
were
yeah.
like the fucking Slash farm team. Like everybody in that band played in Slash on
Well,
that tour.
yeah, and Shane ended up from Toque filling in for me at the end of this last tour when I had a little eye issue. But so
crazy.
I guess we're like the minor the minor league.
I didn't
hockey
really mean
team.
that, but yeah.
No, but that's right.
But
It's
it
a
was
farm
it
team.
was a no-brainer. The first thing I thought when
You guys know a guy?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. When Brent went down, it was like, you know, there's sort of like an initial sort of bunch of names, and I go, just call Shane. He's the guy.
Right.
He's like, he'll have
But
it.
you
know.
want that kind of familiarity,
Yeah.
especially
Sure.
throwing somebody into a pretty big mix at that point.
Oh yeah,
which is also way out of their general scope.
totally,
you know?
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
It's hard to deal.
the actual Conspirators world that we kind of created is its own thing. So it's
Right.
one thing to be kind of like, oh yeah, Slash, I know, you know, Night Train
Sure.
and you know all those songs. It's kind of like that's
Right.
one thing, but to kind of go, have you dug deep enough to have followed the last 10 years of his career?
Right.
That's kind of what we focus on. And in fact, the last Living the Dream tour is all Conspirators music. You know, what I mean, except for one song.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Man. And people are digging it.
Yeah, and it
They
was like,
know those tracks.
he's
Like,
pretty
They're
bold
not waiting
that way.
for the GNR song anymore.
He's so bold that way. Like I remember kind of being like, "Are you sure?" Like,
Right.
and then I remember we started playing shows and it was working. So I was
we
like,
started the tour before the record came out. We actually played songs people had never heard. That was cool because people are looking at you and they've never heard it, and you're like, hope they like it. But
"Yeah,
Like we caught you guys early in Phoenix at the Van Buren there. That would have
That's
been
right.
that, right?
Yeah.
that was 100% before
Yeah.
the
I
record.
don't
And
think
that
the record was
killer.
out yet."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that kind of thing. You know, he's like I say, he's nuts that way. Like he's just kind of like, "No, that's what I want to do, so we're going to do that." Okay, yeah.
And you play all the tracks on the album at various points in the tour, usually, right?
All three of
that's
the
rare.
all three of
Like,
the
that's a
Conspirators
rare
records
thing.
that we've done, and I think even to some degree that solo record that we first started touring on,
Yeah.
we've played all of those songs live in one fashion or another at some point. Yeah,
Who does that?
No one.
Nobody.
I always
Fucking
think
Iron Maiden, maybe.
Sorry.
That's it.
Well,
They'll do
that's
the
a
whole
forced-
album.
that's a forced
That's
exercise,
forced, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I always think it's interesting because when a band like 10 years into their career, it's like when they started recording a record, they must be thinking to themselves, we're only going to play one or two of these live anyway.
Right.
But no, not Slash. He's like ready to play them all.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, back to the Toque thing, it's clearly a labor of love because the detail
It's
is
nuts.
fucking insane.
It's nuts. Yeah.
like, it's perfect.
Corey will send you like a patch, you know, is this patch closer to this patch for the keyboard sound for a
Right.
Toronto song? And
Right.
I go, you're digging that deep? I'm kind of like,
Holy shit.
I'm like, just,
Although it's cool, man, because
I
you
know,
got this
yes.
technology now, like with amp simulation, keyboards, that patches. It's like,
absolutely, yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Well, the
he's-
dissecting is part of our fun for us because
Right.
we know the songs so well, but yet because we know them so well, we know that other people don't. Maybe,
Right.
we've
Right.
had, it's really great to have someone who we've been going down to South America or, Japan or India and have, someone who's maybe a fan of us from Slash, but they go, oh, we really like that Toque, CD. But they're
And that
saying,
was-
we like that Queen,
That's
that
crazy.
dance song. Like they don't know it's Queen City Kids,
Right.
but we've put it down on a record the way we want it to be interpreted in a real,
Right.
like the way we
True
loved
form.
it growing up.
Yeah,
Just
right.
give it a fresh coat of paint per se, like a tougher,
Yeah.
fresher sound. And so we don't want it to sound completely
Foreign.
foreign
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
And and a new listener is just going, well, this is a great song. And
Right.
if you already know the song like you guys would, you're just
Yeah.
like, it just sounds awesome. So
Yeah.
we're not trying to reinvent the song.
I get the power
Right.
because it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on recreating cover songs in a weird sort of way or something outside the box of what
Right.
was originally intended. And there's a
Right.
real power to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also your joy of playing and singing and recording it that I think is maybe paramount to, I guess, my guess as to why you did the records and the songs you chose and how you stuck really true to the form
Yeah.
of the tune. Because I always wondered, did they choose those songs because they like to play them or they love to sing them the way it was sung, not doing it, trying to be different. It's just the power of how good it was to sing it like you remember it, coming off the radio.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
Some of those
part
songs
it,
have been playing themselves to us like for so long because you just know the
Yeah.
song.
Right.
And we're the kind of guys we've been lucky enough to play with, some of our heroes and some great artists over time. And it's like if I was I did a little time in Street Heart with Kenny Shields
Yeah.
and Harlequin and those bands. But if I was going to be playing in the band, I think the original band's going to want to play it, the way they recorded
How
it.
it
So I
goes.
always
Right.
think, well, if I was asked to be in the band, I and that includes us playing with Slash. And I remember we had a conversation once with Slash about him and not saying, well, how we interpret the music that he wrote. And to me, I was always my job would be like, I'm not changing a song.
Yeah, we're not going
that's
to do a
already-
reggae version of Sweet Child of Mine.
Right, right.
That would be like
Right.
purposeless.
If
It's
we
like-
can be as good
Yeah.
as we think you know, as players, like I would want, if I went to see Slash play and how I would want the drummer to play, I would hope that I could, you know, do the honor for the you know, Steven Adler,
right?
Matt Storm, who played.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, we played recently. We can get into the Kiss cruise, but we just played.
Oh, we will.
Steven was on the cruise recently,
he was, yeah.
and I had some great conversations as drummers with Steven about talking about interpreting songs. And he goes, Brent, you know, I actually told Slash, you know, you were the guy that played the stuff, you know, closest to me, and I took that
Right
as
on.
like, well, I would. That's
Good for you.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do, Steven. I wouldn't, you know, I don't have license to that. So.
Yeah.
The
I'm
Toque
not
thing
fitting
is
my style into
Because he
this.
really swings.
Right.
I love the way he plays on that album, man. It's
Of
just
course.
fucking
Nobody
awesome.
plays like Steven. There's not enough grease in rock and roll these days. Actually,
Good point.
In modern day
Yeah.
music, that's probably true. But yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's, I mean, like I
When
said,
it
we were
sticks
just
out, it
talking about
sticks
some of
out.
these younger bands like Dirty Honey and
Yep.
Joyous Wolf, and they're starting to be a little
Rival
bit more
Sons
grease.
is my personal favorite.
Rival Sons,
Fuck that
dude. I
last
just
album.
saw them. I just saw them with STP, and they were
Oh, that's
brilliant.
pretty good.
Yeah.
well, we did
that
dates
was
with
at the
them this
Joint,
summer
The
too.
Joint, yeah.
They're like the
Yeah, they're
that's
the-
the perfect band for us to tour with as
Those
well.
guys
so.
are like insane. Yeah.
And I love how he has a new guitar every song. We
Yeah,
just
he's
saw
so
him.
We just saw him at Flame
At
Central.
Flame Central about a month and 2 months ago.
And I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah,
It was-
me too.
That fucking singer.
He's the best.
Yeah, Jay.
Oh
Jay.
my God.
Jay, no one can touch that guy. I think he's one of the best in the world.
He really is.
Yeah.
That's not overstating it.
No, I think he is. I think he's got something
Under
really special.
Todd, though, he's still.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
He said one of the best.
Yeah,
Right.
one of the best.
Okay.
One of the best
He didn't
in
say
the
the
world.
best.
I'm the best. Not on this world. I'm the best on Tatooine. That's it.
But you gotta give props where it's due. And Todd plays guitar at the same time.
yeah, right.
There's another
That's a good point.
level of
I always laugh because
Challenge
we
there,
play
I
like
think.
we play these songs in this band that I always giggle because we're like I love all kinds of music. I always loved Rush, but I didn't play like Rush. When I was a kid, I was really into the New York Dolls
Yes.
and Kiss and Cheap Trick, and I felt like I know how to play those songs.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know how to play. So when things like Rush came out, it was like, I like this, but I never really felt like I needed to pick up the guitar
Right.
and sit there and
I get it.
I had to, is there any way to slow this down?
Yeah.
You know, all that kind
Right.
of stuff. So, but doing like songs like Saga and
Saga?
Saga, sorry,
Saga?
I'm in
Oh,
Canada.
boy.
And
That's
Rush,
a great song.
and all that kind
man.
of stuff in this band is so funny to me because what I feel like I'm constantly doing is the Paul Stanley version on my guitar parts because it's true. I play
Right.
I just the guitar is such a it's just a piece of me and it's like
Right.
I'm not sitting there going whittly whittly. I'm going wang wang wang. you
Right.
know,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
and you know, so I always laugh like, what if Paul Stanley played
Yeah.
on Tom Sawyer? It'd probably sound like this.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative thing. I just think I come from that school of Malcolm,
Yeah.
Paul, Keith. You know, I just love that side of guitar more
Right.
so than
Well, you're
it's
looking out
important.
at the audience performing to them instead of to your
Right.
floor, looking at your
The head down, kind of making sure I know where I'm at, kind of takes a little bit
Well,
out of it, especially
it's a-
if you're a front.
it's a different kind of guitar player, you know. And I think that's obviously to me, it's like, you know, I'm always impressed and blown away by those other guitar players.
Yeah.
So, but I always kind of felt like that's his gig, you know.
That's right, yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah, right on.
So speaking of that, how do you feel? It must be cool to get out from behind the kit, out front, feel what that's like. That's cool, hey? That's got to be
Going to
a
bass. It's
great because and Toque is a bit of that thing for all of us because you know Todd is,
Well, I'm known as a bass player in some circles. So to be
but
out
not
front,
to me.
Well, not to me
us.
either,
No,
yeah.
I know. To
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
everybody here.
In a
it's
way,
kinda
it's
like
like,
fun.
but
Yeah.
the world got exposed if they didn't already know.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of stuff because of the Slash.
Once in a
gig.
while,
Oh,
somebody
Todd's a bass
I'll
player.
see something online where somebody say, "It's so weird to see Todd with a guitar," and I just think I giggle to
Is it?
myself like, "It's like, wow, dude! Like, if they'd been around since back in the day, because there would have been somebody going, it's weird to see Todd with a bass." You know, it's like,
Yeah.
but I started.
Yeah, we all questioned it. It's like Todd's playing bass with slot. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well, when I
inside
started,
that-
I played bass. I played bass up until when I started playing with my brother. My brother started playing bass, so I said, "Okay, well then I'll be Paul Stanley."
Your
And I
brother
would go
played
to-
low.
But
Your
that-
brother
Yes.
is hung it low. Yes.
He still hangs it low.
on the stage.
We're talking about the bass right
Yes,
now.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
we
yeah,
are,
yeah,
clearly.
No. Well, he was a Kerns. Ooh, look out.
You did
That's
play bass
Saskatchewan water.
in a Saskatchewan band way before Age of Electric,
Oh
right?
yeah. My first bands, that's what I did. I played bass, and then I became the bass player singer, and then, like I say, then I started playing with my brother, and that's when I moved to rhythm guitar. You know?
Right. I had that feeling when I saw you a clip from Raiding the Rock Vault, and you just had the mic stand.
Yeah.
I'm like, Have I seen that before? I don't think so.
And in
but
Age of
you
Electric,
probably did.
I was the
Yeah,
lead singer.
that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot.
So,
Exactly.
But you always had a guitar strapped around
No,
your...
I played guitar as well, but
Yeah.
I mostly was just a singer when we first started out. I don't know what I don't know. It's funny because I look back and I go, I don't know what the actual decision making process of that was. It was just kind of like, I'll just sing that, and Ryan handled all the guitar, and then I'd pick up a guitar once in a while, but it was mostly just singing. Eventually, it was worked back into the show that I just play guitar all the time. So, it's like. That's what I kind of like about it, because in a lot of ways, it's, sometimes he's singing, sometimes he's playing bass, sometimes he's playing guitar. What is this guy's deal? So,
Well, his deal is he's
Jack
fucking
of all
talented.
trades.
And you
Well,
can do drums, bass,
I don't know that.
guitar. I mean, come on.
I'm working on
It's
I'm working on
crazy.
tap dancing now.
It's
so-
crazy, man.
Well, the two guys as a whole, we've all, and there's a couple extended, players, like obviously Corey, Todd, and Shane and I.
Yeah.
And then Zach Throne has been filling in on a couple
Zach-
gigs. And
Zach's
he's
one of those
a bass
people.
playing, guitar playing, lead singer guy that, it's sort of like, I always say it's the three-dimensional triple threat kind of guy.
It's crazy. And you play keys too, man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's your deal. Yeah, you're right in that group with the bass, keyboards, drums. I mean, you sang before.
But
Quad.
a
Yeah,
lot of
right?
it started,
Like,
and Todd and I talk about it, and Corey from the same. It all started in the prairies. It all started years ago in our teens when we were getting the chance to play clubs.
Right.
And you sort of did what you needed to do to fill in the blanks. Like Todd probably wasn't thinking, I'm going to be a lead singer. You just defaulted into the role.
Yeah. That was
that's
just
hard to believe.
That's just a game of who's the least worst singer in this band. when you're kids, it's like everybody's singing songs, and eventually
When you don't do this, you're okay. Yeah.
right.
But we'd look at the times, right? Because I have a young kid, not really into music because there's so much distraction. Of
course,
but growing up in the prairies in winter,
Yeah.
you got time
That was the
to
best.
commit to something.
Think of how limited television was back then.
And that was not even part of the
so
equation.
you'd watch TV to a point, and you'd be like, I've seen this Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Right.
And you were
Where's
playing guitar.
Marianne? That's all I want to
fantasized
see.
to this already. Yeah. I fantasized to Ginger already.
Yeah.
it was Marianne for me, and
Yeah, I was a
maybe
Marianne.
let's do it.
I was a Marianne man myself.
Yeah, me too.
No, Mrs. Howell.
Oh, easy.
Oh, man.
Easy.
Holy fuck.
I had a friend that was a Mrs. Howell man. I was like, what? And he had to give me the pitch. Like,
Watch it again, man.
Look at how old she is. She takes care. Clearly, she takes care of herself. This was
On
his
the
pitch.
island, she took care of herself.
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
They all
okay.
did,
Well,
I
it's
think.
for everyone.
I had somebody try to tell
It's
me
going
that
downhill.
Joyce.
This will be the
I'm just trying to think of
This will
like,
be all the comments in the bottom. Will be all about it, dude. I was a Mrs. Howell. Man.
Yeah, right.
Somebody tried to tell me that Joyce DeWitt is hotter than Suzanne Summers. I mean,
I was
come on.
actually a Joyce
What?
DeWitt.
I was
And I'll
too.
tell you why.
Me
I
too.
think it
Tell
was,
me
I
why,
think it was
Todd.
a Joan Jett thing. She had like this kind of
when she had the-
And
it was
edgier
kind of
voice,
Pat
a little
Benatar
wasn't
kind
so
of thing.
simple.
Oh, right.
there's a Joyce DeWitt. If you guys haven't gone through the entire Schitt's Creek
Love the
series,
show.
Yeah.
in I think season 5,
Joyce
there's some Joyce DeWitt references to
references,
to Moira
okay.
Rose.
Oh, man.
Talking about
Amazing.
a movie she was in with Joyce DeWitt. It's just you got to watch that.
That's
great.
It's a good show.
It's
They got a
Canadian,
great
eh?
cast, yeah.
Okay, do you
Sorry.
get tired of people suggesting songs to do?
No, please lay them on me.
No.
We
Okay,
had
I got
a long-
three.
we had a
Are you
long
ready?
Triumph conversation.
Triumph
Yeah.
and BTO are too easy, so I'm not going to go
That
there.
is easy, yeah.
But what would your Triumph song be? Just
We were
because
just
you are
talking
wearing
about
a
this.
shirt.
Okay,
Yeah.
what would mine be, or what do I think you should do?
See, I said Allied Forces would be one I'd like to hear.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But what would be
It's not that
if you have two
common
choices?
for
No to
Rock and Roll
everybody.
Machine
I
without
love-
the
I love that
solo.
choice.
I love Rock and Roll Machine, yeah.
But the solo obviously takes it off, but that fucking song is badass.
it's bitchin', yeah.
both
See-
those are good tracks.
If I was to throw the quick idea of like what might fit in with some of the stuff we've been doing, like lots of Vogues and everything, and the time frame,
You'd want to do something from the Rick Santer years.
I'm getting
no,
to
but a
that.
Santer's tune. Santer's were like,
They're great.
Oh, yeah.
Sander's was
That was
great.
second on my list, Santers.
but something off Thunder 7
Is
is
a
kind
band
of,
of Santers?
you know, like
Yeah.
Spellbound, is kind of
Right.
cool. Follow your heart. It's pretty catchy.
Fight the good
but-
fight.
Yeah.
You'd sing the fuck out of that.
That'd be great. You know, but it's funny that you mentioned Santers because
Yeah.
Coney Hatch is another one that we have.
That's what I got on my
Yeah.
list too.
We should
And
do
he
Coney
always
Hatch.
yells at us about not doing any Coney Hatch.
Hey, operator. Keys.
That's such a great song, yeah.
Hey, I love the old Brian Adams track that you guys do.
Yeah,
Who
that was
sings
fun,
that?
Yeah, that's Corey.
Dude.
Corey sang it on the
Corey
record.
sings it.
We were asking
first
who
album.
sang in it because
Yeah.
I'm like,
he had
that's
a
not
couple of
Kurtz.
great
That's
early
like that's
hits that-
first album.
Hiding from
Right.
Love.
It's
Hiding
too easy.
from Yeah, those two
It's
were
too
just
easy to kinda
earworms
do-
quick,
Yeah.
man.
It would have been too easy to do like one of the more popular. You know,
I
even
love the
cuts like a
fact
knife
you went
era would
back
be like
to that
But
era.
the fact that we went that far back,
That was a great
You know what
choice.
we did before? Remember, was we actually did Fitz You Good.
Well, that was a good one.
That's
Right.
a great Brian Adams track
Yeah.
too. We should actually record that one.
That's a great song. Yeah.
You know what we could do, which is a Kiss segue with Toque, is we could probably do. But isn't that wait? So there's
right.
Rock and Roll Hell,
Rock and Roll Hell,
War Machine, and isn't there?
There's a BTO version of Rock and Roll Hell.
Yes,
There is.
We're digging a lot
yeah.
deeper
So we
now.
could actually do a Kiss song on a Toque record, and it would be completely valid.
I see what you're saying.
See, because there's a
crossing.
Canadian.
You don't cross the
I didn't.
streams.
Right.
I wasn't following you. I got
don't
it.
cross the
Like a
streams. it would be
salmon, like
bad.
a salmon. You
Yeah.
just
Yes.
gotta, yeah.
That's the reference. If it's Canadian, DNA.
Okay, here's an obscure one. Ready? Tease.
Tease.
Gonna
we
have
talked
a good
about
time
Tease.
tonight.
Yeah, I love that
Or
song.
On the Loose. I fucking love that riff too.
time tonight. Rock and roll.
There it
We used
is.
to play that back in my high school days. Yeah,
That's a great tune, man.
great band.
I had a friend
That's
in,
my pitch.
in
I
Thunder
wanna be in the
Bay.
credits, by the
He had a deep band, Leiden Czar. You ever heard of them?
Leiden Czar.
Backstreet
Yeah.
Girl. There's a great song. We should probably end up doing that one as well. Here's the thing. We're having the discussion about the down the
It
road
was like
Toque
5 albums
potential.
later, we're still like
it's
finding
endless.
songs to cover, yeah.
It's endless. So
is, yeah.
and even the first record might have been a little more of, well, we don't know if we're going to have a second record. So we maybe packed it with a few more pretty obvious, familiar hit songs. And the second one, Corey was kind of like, we could do Daddy Don't Know by Toronto, but he really liked the
Enough is enough.
right.
Yeah.
Enough is Enough. And I think that's turned out to be like a cool track on the
Yeah.
on the CD because it's not as
turned out great.
expected.
Right.
Well, I like the nods to you do nod to Darby.
Yep.
And you Hollywoods
Yeah.
with Toronto and whatever. It's
And
And
then
Alanis.
And
all these
Alanis, of
girl
course,
songs.
yeah.
yeah.
but those were the
Well, 'cause
rockers
Todd
that were
sings
kind
those.
of happening at the time, and they were. A good question right now is regarding Canadian music at the time with the CRTC and the regulations of FM. How much Canadian music had to be played per hour that led to hits?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or
I mean,
what-
It was a
it's-
lot.
I had a career based on that.
What are you saying?
yeah.
But that meant that
No, I know,
these
yeah.
these created some nice big
Absolutely,
earworms
yeah.
for a lot of people that are hard to shake, right?
They are, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Which creates a giant question of the ability to reach beyond Canada because we have. That's one of the things that I love about the Toque thing is that it is really based on, a music that is predominantly known by Canadians. I mean, a lot of
Right.
the music. Some bands like Loverboy had a career outside of,
Yeah.
and
rare, though.
and Rush, obviously, and bands like that. But we could have the same conversation with a friend from Sweden, and he would tell us about great bands from Sweden, and we'd all be like, I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about.
Exactly.
In fact, I've had that conversation. I don't know who you're talking about.
Let's just talk about Street Heart as a great example of probably the greatest Canadian band that shoulda, woulda, coulda
Yeah.
on an international level.
didn't.
Because
That's tough to
Yeah.
argue.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the song catalog, it's good enough, and
Yeah.
it's just, you never know, like Loverboy had some good inroads in the States, but I didn't think that the Street Heart music was any less quality-wise as
If you
far
were
as...
going to
No
do a
way.
Street Heart
Yeah.
like tribute record, we'd have a hell of a time finding 10 to. We'd have to do a double CD for sure
Yeah.
or something.
So you just, a lot of the Canadian bands and breaking into the American market, and maybe the Tragically Hip is one of the greatest examples of not being the biggest band
right.
in the States, if at all.
They couldn't crack it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, most Americans and international people know Rush without question.
Yeah.
And there's a few other, like the Guess Who actually has a
And
very
Triumph to some
international,
degree.
Yeah, Triumph too.
Triumph.
Triumph had
Yeah.
a international.
but not the
career.
Tragically Hip over Triumph. And there's such a, in Canada, just royalty, the Tragically Hip, but not, and I don't, what.
Bands like Sloan. Sloan has they have
right.
pockets
Great
of
band.
they have pockets of audience in the States. It's funny. They do runs across the States and they probably play limited rooms, but I mean it's still like but again, they're like a heritage Canadian band. They're
Yep.
like,
Before we get off of Toque, I just want to know who came up with the name because
we kind of bounced.
I think it's an awesome one, especially for what you're doing and from where you're from.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's like it just feels really, really good.
We bounced around. We
Yeah.
bounced around a lot of Canadianisms and things like that.
I'd
just
love to
because
know a few of
because
them.
the Canadian songs. Oh God, I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
let's go. 3. You got to know 3.
Bruno Gerussi, Justice Beaver. We called ourselves at one
Ah,
thing.
there you go.
And then I think somebody said something like the Toques or the Toque head. Somebody said something about Toque head. That was like when you have when you wear your toque and your hair will be
buried
all
into your skin
yeah,
and
your
your
hair will be
eyes
all
all
fucked
right
up.
up. Yeah.
And then we just said, well, what about toque? I kind of thought of it like in like Rush, a word like Rush.
Right.
Yeah, simple.
So then it just became like, yeah, let's go.
Oh, it's a good choice,
Certainly
man.
Bob and Doug McKenzie, the whole SCTV
Right.
Yes.
reference. And the spelling, just to clarify, is right off the the record, the Bob and Doug McKenzie album.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's French spelling with T-O-Q-U-E and
T-O-U-Q-U-E is also acceptable, yeah.
So, and, you know, people have been trying to tell us, well, you know, you spelled it wrong or whatever. And this in other countries does not mean at all what this table knows it as a Canadian hat reference. But it could be talk or touch.
Touch, I think it means,
you know, in Spanish or Portuguese.
Okay, let's get back to Slash. Let's change gears.
Okay.
Can we do that? I read a quote recently. Slash said the last tour he thinks was the best one. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was actually like when we were talking about before about like doing all that living the dream.
Yeah.
You know, like doing all Conspirators music basically. I'm going to be honest. Part of me was kind of like, okay. It's always nice to have that when you're putting a set together with any band. You always kind of think of the tent poles, like, okay, well, we got the good opener. Then we'll hit them with these kind of, you know. Then by the mid part there we have that. Then there's a drum solo. People love drums. you got to build a set. You got to build a set kind of like, you know, knowing that you have this to go with. And when you take away things like, you know, the easy Sweet Child of Mine riff, we're going to win every time, you know. But when you take away those safety. The safety net, you kind of go, okay.
It's a ballsy move. Yeah.
But it was immediately, what I noticed first was our initial sort of U.S. run was probably the best we were ever received in the U.S. because the band has done like hockey arenas in Europe and other parts of the world. Yeah. And then we do, you know, smaller venues in
They're
the
just
States.
more hardcore over there, hey?
Yeah, well, they like rock. Rock and roll never died, or it never, not that I really don't believe rock and roll is dead. I love when people start getting on that soapbox. Yeah, like dude, we just named all those young bands right now who are alive and well. I think it was also the break, you know, like we did that kind of move where we were kind of gone. There was a Guns N' Roses tour. People maybe thought this is never going to happen again. So when we came back, I think people were kind of excited to see us again.
Well, and give Slash credit for making sure that he was like letting people know, no, I'm still doing my other band
we kind
with a new record because Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses had such a great successful world tour, stadium-sized tour,
put it
and
mildly.
Slash was
Yeah,
able
of
to come
course.
out with a brand new record. Boom, you know, and that was hard work for Slash. He was doing double duty. We were all doing a little double duty. We love that. We thrive on doing two records at once. And, you know, ask Todd how many gigs he's been doing in the last week, you know, just from other things. Like, we're busy people. So how many?
We're trying to count them right now.
Seriously, like all the set lists in our head.
Is that
and
the
then-
hardworking Canadian attitude that comes with it? Because
We only know this,
I think so.
I think you're absolutely right on that. I think it's I don't know what it is about the way I work. It's
We're not
kind of like
lazy.
if I'm sitting home on a Wednesday night not doing, I'm thinking to myself, I should be doing something. You know?
Right.
I think it's more about you're not hungry. That's just you inherently that way.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the same as when they talk about retirement. Like it's like
What does that
It's like a
mean?
guy when
Yeah.
a guy retires, he suddenly dies 2 years later because
Right.
he's got
Right.
nothing to do or
What does
something.
that mean?
You know what is great is we're, not to put our age out there, but we've been doing this 30 plus
long time.
years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not young people in the business, but I feel like we're doing our best work today.
Right. I
I'm not
feel like
living
that,
something
yeah.
from, I did that when I was 20 and
Absolutely.
I'm living the rest of my life living up to it.
Yeah.
So that's why we work hard, is because we're healthy enough up here to want to do music and do it well. And playing with someone...
Anything below here, not so healthy.
Well, that
but that's
health
inherent in
does
you,
factor in. But
Well, hey.
if your headspace is like, no, I'm going to make new music. And what's great about playing with Slash is we make new music. You know, we're not living in the past.
And fucking good new music.
And even with Toque, even though there's a whole reference to stuff that was influential to us growing up, we're giving it this new spin, and then we're being creative with new ideas too. So
And it
everything
is-
we're doing is not in the past. It's
Right.
And Toque did start with a passion of being able to share music that we loved and grew up with the world. You know, so I mean, as much
That's
as it's
fucking cool.
as much
It's
as
a
we're,
resurgence of what was good back then. Yeah.
I feel like a curator in a museum. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a Rare Streetheart song.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. You
Right.
want.
So what were some standout gigs? Well, I'm sure that's one. That
Yeah, that's
fucking
always a
DVD.
standout one. I mean, the thing about this particular DVD is it was filmed at the Apollo.
which was the Hammersmith.
Odeon.
Hammersmith. Yeah. So you got your Motorhead.
I think of
live
Motorhead
album.
immediately.
I did too.
Yeah.
Right
Queen.
there,
and
Live at
you
Hammersmith,
stand on
yeah.
those stages and you're like, dude, everybody's played on this stage.
And you're singing a
Everybody
Lemmy
you can
song.
Imagine, yeah. And you're singing a Lemmy song. I mean,
Right.
that's
Well,
always
Todd
been
sang
an
it with Lemmy.
Yeah.
He had
Exactly.
Lemmy
Yeah.
up on stage.
Yeah.
And that's the honor of being able to do that night after night after night, is being able to become associated with the song that Lemmy sang, and he's no longer with us. So every night is like a thing that we have to pay homage to Lemmy.
All we got is one short life. That's the people's
Oh, he's always been really good to us. He's an amazing man. You can go on and on and on about it, but he's
absolutely.
He's a big part of this thing. The fact that Slash sprungboard that solo album out with all those guys.
Yeah.
He ended up getting a lead singer out of that, and then he had Lemmy and all those kind of guys as well.
Miles is awesome. But I'll say
Miles
this:
great.
this is going to sound like I'm blowing smoke here.
Blow away, brother.
But when Miles hands the mic over to you for those 2 tracks,
Right.
I've seen you guys enough times. There's a fucking energy shift, man.
You know what's so funny?
It's palatable.
I'll tell you it from this perspective.
It's fucking awesome.
These
dude.
girls, in Europe, I remember them saying something about like, every time you sing, I get kicked in the head.
They're so good with the.
We're all gonna die.
It puts it in perspective that these like guys people start rolling around the audience, like it turns into a mosh pit, and it's like nuts just for like 2 songs, and then it kind of like goes back to like a regular show.
It's the highlight of the show for me every time.
Oh, I appreciate
and
that.
that's Dr. Alibi. I fucking love that
It's
song.
such a great song.
Oh.
Yeah, Lemmy
It's
really
like
did
when Coverdale and Glenn Hughes were in the same band. You had 2 lead singers, so we kind of have that cool.
That's a good analogy.
We've also been able to work that into the songs. Like, I mean, it's not quite as obvious as like Glenn and David Coverdale, but in the records we try to, it's my voice in there, and sometimes I'm carrying a line that,
which is very identifiable too.
Yeah,
dude,
it does cut.
That. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm thinking of? We're in San Francisco for Melissa's birthday, my brother's wife. So Fitz is there with Chrissy and everybody. Well, World on Fire wasn't out yet. And he goes, "Do you want to hear some of the new album?" I'm like, "You fucking think?" Of course I do.
No, I do not.
So we all go up to this room. He plugs his phone into a shitty fucking nightstand stereo, and he plays World on Fire, the song.
Yeah.
Who do you
And
hear
everybody,
cut, who do you hear cut through the chorus?
I could feel everybody looking at me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking wicked.
Yeah,
like when a song does what you want it to do,
Right.
like that breakdown, an F-bomb,
Yeah.
everything about it. Your
Yeah.
background vocals is why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting through.
Yeah, it cut right through.
Well, they really, I mean,
That was awesome, dude.
Miles has
I'll never
always been-
forget that.
Miles has been really generous about like, do whatever you want to do, dude. Like just do your thing on top. He sings his vocal and then he has to go play in Alter Bridge. Speaking of another guy who's got 10 things on his go. On the go. And then we just cut the vocals and Elvis, our producer at the time and currently is still
He's done it all, right? All the albums?
the last 2. The first one we did with Eric Valentine.
Right.
It was amazing as well, yeah.
Right.
But the way the recording goes, the World on Fire song to us, as when it was initially a riff,
That might be my
right?
favorite song still, actually.
It probably got
join you on
by us where we were never thinking that's going to be a real standout track, and it just by the end of it became, oh, this is great, and
I'll tell you,
because the
like-
vocals weren't there yet.
I remember being excited about it. I remember sending it to Frank, our guitar player, going, dude, this is the new shit. And just kind of sent it to him. And he was like, whoa, because it just felt like, I remember standing in the room after I'd sung all the vocal and came into the room and they called it up and it was like, this has got something. It felt identifiable. Like it felt like this is
but
what
true
this
to him,
band sounds
true
like.
to Slash too. Like
Yes.
it didn't, just he really brought his character to it, and then there's all this other characters to
absolutely.
it. It was so fresh. in the sense-
Slash really is pretty. He likes a gang. Like he's not.
Right.
He
Yeah,
knows.
I
He's,
get that.
He knows who
Yeah.
he is. We all know who he is.
of course.
He likes to. He would not surround himself with us if he didn't feel like we had something to contribute. So
Right.
And I'll say this.
100%.
You guys feel more like a band than his other band. You do. I feel it, man. Even though I've seen GNR once since they got back together.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
And it's great.
Oh, that band. I thought you were
That
talking
band.
Snake Pit. No, just kidding.
I love those Snake Pit albums, but
They're
anyway.
great, but I'm saying
Me
this
too,
is a
yeah.
band.
And when you guys are doing
Yeah.
those tracks, they're fucking
Yeah.
You
awesome.
know what
I
I can
mean-
say about the
But-
new record, Living the Dream? The very first moment, we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we Slash decided, hey, let's get together and work on some new stuff. And we had a few ideas, quite a few actually, on the road on the World on Fire tour that were pretty realized
Frozen.
in a jamming.
They were frozen
you know,
like Captain America in snow because we had to kind of call them out of. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. We kind of hadn't played them in a while.
But what happened was the first day we came back, and it was just Slash, Todd, and I, 3-piece, which is the perfect way to get a jam together with a great guitar riff and then rhythm section.
Is that usually how it starts, Brent? Like,
it depends.
It's usually the three
with
of us in
Slash's
the room.
That
riff,
works.
and it kind of goes
because
from
we're quick learners. We are able to jump in. So
But
I
in
think
that room, we wrote in a jam session.
Mind Your Manners.
Mind Your Manners. Every riff he comes up with is like a classic Slash riff. Like,
It can be a
it's
song
just
right away.
unbelievable.
they just fall out of him. It's like the craziest thing. Yeah.
So we're just a happy rhythm section that's like we're there for him.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's
Right.
why
He has
in
to
a lot
kind
of
of
ways.
fall back, and we're there to catch him, whatever he's going to do.
Right.
So our band functions well. It's a well-oiled machine, and we hadn't seen each other in a while playing music together, and we literally within minutes got back together and wrote a song. So I think that
That's
says a lot
crazy,
about
Yeah.
the energy in the band. Is it's a well working machine. So and for the future, I guess it's open game because we could literally just get back together and probably
write
happily-
something else.
We're creative guys. It's
yeah.
always new ideas,
Yeah.
and like Toque has that same thing too. Like we of course plan to do new music with Toque as well because we are those guys. We're writing new songs today that we're excited. Slash always says he's wrote "Sweet Child of Mine" a long time ago, and he likes making new music. And every time I hear our records back, I'm like, man, he's got the new killer riff. Like Wicked Stone always stuck out to me.
that's
Actually,
another good one.
on World on Fire.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Call of the Wild.
I was saying the other day, I was telling a story how like he would back when we were trying to get during the Guns N' Roses reunion tour, he would try and let's jam, and he would say, "Are you guys available on this day?" And I'd be like,
Are you fucking kidding
and
me?
I would look, but I would
no,
look
I'm
at
vacuuming that day.
But I would look at the schedule, like he'd been on the road with Guns for however long, and I was like, I looked at the schedule, and he literally wanted to get together the next day after the tour ended, and I was like, this guy's an animal.
He's excited.
Yeah.
But
And then
see,
you have
he's
to-
excited for the
Yeah.
new, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
that whole
Yeah.
experience was definitely nostalgia.
Yeah,
Really. And he's been down that road, and sure, he's doing it for the fans, and we all were there, and for the cake
Of
and
course,
all that. We all
course,
get
yeah.
it.
Well, we'd all do
right?
that, but I mean, at
Of
the same
course.
time, it's not to say that they won't come up with something new and that he'll be excited about. But I think that Slash in our camp gets to kind of come in and just be himself, and not have to worry about.
Well, he sets the
anything,
bar pretty fucking high.
And
He
Miles
does,
is, his yin to the yang. Miles has great work ethic as well.
Yes.
And I think that's why we've been successful is because Miles is a busy just as much as Slash and yet finds a way to, like lyrics are not easy.
No.
You have to keep telling new stories and
the
melodies.
melodies,
And come up with something catchy over an already great Slash riff. That's a lot of pressure. And then, so we kind of give that platform where it's like, here's the music. And then Miles just is hitting it home all the time. Because
But so unassuming, man. Like, you look at big rock bands
Yes.
with big front men and this and that. This is like the anti that
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, but draws more in.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
think
got
so.
more power on all those levels, but also the work ethic, and it's just serendipitous in a
Yeah, I
lot of
think
ways
so,
that you guys all have that drive to be excited about new things, right?
Yeah.
we're talking about something and I'm thinking, this is not the only thing that Todd and I do that has
Right.
new energy because,
Right.
Todd and I now have been playing, we've known each other 30
Are you
years.
talking about our Milli
We-
Vanilli tribute?
Hey,
No, but we've played together.
where do I get
I remember
tickets?
Slash was like, well, you and Todd, you played together right before. I was like, no, we were never in a band together
No,
until
we always
playing with
were
Slash.
aware of each other for
Right.
since late '80s, probably.
Small
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
So we get to
yeah.
play together in 2010. But then now that we've been playing with Slash for pretty much a decade and having the joy of playing together in Toque.
Yeah.
But we've, most recently had that was almost a happy accident too of having the band that played on the Kiss Cruise the last several years.
But those seeds are sown earlier on too, with your involvement in Union with Bruce. and then we did a BK3 CD release party.
It's like a web. It
in
all kind of
2010.
yeah.
We did it just before we started playing with Slash. We did a thing. So then, when it comes to doing the 2017 Kiss Cruise, it was just a matter of like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Boom, and it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're back to Bruce Kulick.
Bruce Kulick,
You
yeah.
played quite a bit with him on a record or two.
Union, yeah.
In
The
Union,
first
yeah.
band I
Yeah.
sort of did outside of Canada, leaving in mid '90s.
You just left Winnipeg and went right there?
Basically,
Okay.
yeah, I was playing with Kenny Shields, and
Okay.
he was half the springboard of like he was my little in my ear. Brent, you got to go.
Gotta go outta here.
He was
Yeah.
actually like pushing me away from him
Right
in a good
on.
way.
Right.
Like Brent, I see where you and you know and rest his soul. He's one of my biggest heroes because
Right.
not only did I learn so much being in his band, but he also helped me get to the next
Push
level.
you
That's so
away.
cool.
I have
Push
to
you
let you
away.
go and go do
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
But so Bruce Kulick and I had, you know, early on when I first moved to LA, this band Union that we started, and that got all my, you know, outside of Canada. Like, here's my new life, moving to LA and having
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the apple never falls far from the tree. So having a relationship with Bruce, fast forward to years later, when I wasn't doing Union and I was out with Gilby Clarke from Guns N' Roses,
Right.
which was
Right.
before Slash even, Vince Neil, and played in the Bullet Boys for a little while. But when I came back in 2009, I'd always played on Bruce's solo records, even though we weren't actively playing together in Union.
Right.
We all went and did other things.
Right.
And actually, we also played together, Bruce and I, in a short-lived, really cool Monster Circus. It was a Vegas show.
Okay.
John
Right.
Corabi, who was in Union as well.
Corabi.
Bruce Kulick and I.
Yeah.
Rudy Sarzo, Fred Curry. I was not the drummer. I was the keyboard player, guitar player.
Right.
And Bruce Kulick.
That quad
and
threat.
Dee Snider was the singer.
There it is.
Dee Snider was the singer. And
Dee Snider.
and Dave Kushner from Velvet Revolvers was the other guitar player too. And there's a great quick story about Dave Kushner. So we became friends, and I was playing guitar with him on that side of the stage in this show and playing keyboards. And then a couple months later, after the end of 2009, the Bruce Kulick CD release happened with Todd and I, but I'll fill in the blank there. But I ended up joining Slash a couple months after that. And Dave said something like he had watched us on Leno, and he goes, you know, he was excited. Oh, you're joining Slash, cool. And then he goes, I didn't know you played drums, because he only was a keyboard player. He's like, why are you playing drums with Slash?
I had no idea.
Anyway,
drummer.
before Slash, so Bruce had a CD release that we did this really cool gig at
We
the
were
Cat
also
Club
on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels with that thing
that Gene
too. Yeah.
filmed. Right.
Nick Simmons came down and sang with us.
Right.
And when
So that
Bruce
ended up
was
on
gonna
Gene's
put-
show. Yeah.
You portrayed yourself, I take it.
portrayed myself.
How did that go?
Sorry, we digress. We,
tough,
we
wasn't
went
it?
off on
Yeah,
this.
Sorry, Brent.
Sorry, Brad.
That was the best thing because Bruce didn't know you,
No.
and he was
We definitely. So you guys had all chatted me up to him for so long. I think he was kind of like, fine, get that Todd guy to sing.
but he
Enough
wanted to
already.
do-
Enough already.
He wanted to do Kiss catalog from his era, and we were going to do some new music and then some stuff off Crazy Nights and
Right.
Revenge and Hot in the Shade and that.
Yeah.
And I go, Todd's the guy. He's got to do it. So by putting that band together
Yeah.
with Todd and Bruce and I back then, it was already the seed planted again.
Right.
Apple not falling far from the tree.
Right.
But
It's crazy, right?
we ended up playing with Slash like weeks after that. That's when I got the call to play with Slash, and luckily Todd got in. You know, I
Involved,
brought
yeah.
Todd in with
Right.
that because you know we had worked so well together on that recent stuff, but we got to come back years later now with Bruce. So now we still have the Slash band, and
Yeah.
now we have this thing with Bruce,
Yeah.
and it's all relevant today. Like this is all our best stuff.
But it
So-
is funny how, like, all these
yeah.
years later, when it came up again to do the Kiss Cruise, it was just kind of like an obvious thing to just reach out to us and be like, "You guys want to?" Yeah, of course, you know. And that started as like, "Yeah, we're doing the Kiss Cruise. That'll be
Right.
fun." And then now it's like, now there's another one. Now there's another one, and it's like, and it just sort of has grown. Now we've got Zach, and it sort of became,
Right.
you know, and who knows where that could go? Who knows? I mean, we're all pretty realistic about stuff because
Sure.
you know, but
Okay, you mentioned how many fucking A-listers these guys have shared a stage
right,
with.
yeah.
And we can rattle them off. Fucking Gene Simmons, Alice Cooper, Vince Neil, Michael Monroe, I fucking
no,
love.
I love Michael Monroe. Yeah, he's
My question
a big
is,
hero.
because I'm a fanboy, was that ever an issue to dial down the fanboy thing? Or is it just like, oh, this is another gig, but holy fuck, I'm playing a Gene Simmons band.
It's
like, how
weird.
do you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
It's
how do
we-
you not go, fanboy.
I think
when
you
you're in a
kind of like. I
situation
think
that.
I can't speak for Brent, but I think for me it became a thing of like just after doing this for so long.
Yeah.
I think if I was like 23, I would have been
course.
like I would have been way more like freaked out.
Right.
And I think that if suddenly we were going to go play with Paul McCartney, I mean you'd be freaked
There's
out.
levels,
But there's also a thing that you're doing where you're kind of like, I just have to be cool. I know that being a musician myself that. We have fans. It's just kind of part of what happens, and sometimes you react. It's how you kind of portray yourself to a musician can either freak them out, and kind of make you go, this guy's a fan, and you fall into this fan category, or do you fall into like a peer category, which is really
just mutual respect.
It's mutual respect kind of thing. But I'm not saying I'm fucking Paul McCartney's peer in any way, shape, or form. But
you heard it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Headline.
I think that'll be the lead.
Blabbermouth.com.
Todd Kerns says.
I am not Paul McCartney by any of Todd Kerns.
But I know as your friend
Yeah.
and a fellow, band member that if
your
Paul-
brothers, really.
if the call came for Todd tomorrow, I would be the first one to go. That guy can do the gig.
yeah.
I mean, it's still,
right.
we don't lose the fact that,
Well, you did that.
it's a trip. You're playing with Slash, you're playing with Kiss guys, you're playing with these guys that you grew up loving.
Exact posters on the wall. I mean, it's got to be surreal at some point.
It's surreal, but at the same time, there is something to be said about, like, it's kind of like we've all gone out to war and fought this fight for ourselves in this industry as well. So you get to a point where you kind of feel like it starts to feel kind of normal in a weird way.
Right.
I will say Lemmy was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, I remember standing there and having Lemmy sign my bass.
Oh, shit.
At rehearsal,
Yeah.
I was like, you got to sign my bass. And he goes, and he just kind of
You
did it.
have to.
He did it in a very sort of like, of course I do. And then he kind of moved on. But,
But the greatest Lemmy, I think, moment was the rehearsal for a gig we did at the Revolver Awards, and
Golden Gods,
we got to do at the place where we mostly rehearse at Mates in LA.
Yeah.
Lemmy came down with the Slash band, and we rehearsed.
We rehearsed
Dr. Alibi.
Dr. Alibi, and we were going to be doing Ace of Spades with Dave Grohl. Was going to get up and play drums.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
That must have been awesome.
rehearsal was very cool because the harmonies that were on the record that Lemmy wrote and sang
in the bridge
like a
section,
3-part harmony thing,
Yeah.
and he was very particular about it, very serious. I remember how detailed he was about going over the harmonies, and it
We
was
all
kind of
stood
like
there like a cappella singing these harmonies with Lemmy was a trip. Yeah.
Holy shit.
It wasn't like-
he doesn't exude that sensibility to
not
a song.
really, no.
I mean, you could go meet Lemmy.
He was super musical. He was like way more musical than you think he was. He actually gave a shit. It was like, and I think that's part. We've had so many of these experiences with Lemmy, like so many like different like weird little things like that. I'll never forget. We played at the Sunset Strip House of Blues back when it used to be on LA. It's gone now, which is a shame.
Yeah, I
but-
know.
And Lemmy got up and did Alibi, and
Yep.
I sang the Iggy Pop song from Slash's solo album called We're All Gonna Die.
Yes.
And after the show, I'm talking like Lemmy's back at stage, and he goes, "That was great, man. Good job." And he goes, "Does that say pee on the ground in that song?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You got to change that, mate." And he turns around and walks away.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I've said my piece, I'm leaving.
And I was like, I can't change the lyrics to that song. It's not my song. I just thought it was so funny that he was like,
badass.
he was actually like listening, like paying attention to the song.
Well, ain't that fucking great? We finally get Brent and Todd on Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll. We've been looking forward to this for a fucking eternity. And the mics crap out. At least we got camera audio.
Okay, let's talk about our favorite band, Kiss. I want to know your impact Kiss had on you guys as kids, even till now. Like
the most influential for me, without a question.
It's still the most
Right?
influential. It's always my go-to.
Yeah.
My life has just been a constant Paul Stanley impression since day one. Whatever I'm doing, it's just
So in the air bands as a kid, were you Paul Stanley?
Actually, originally I was Ace Frehley.
See, I was started.
I was
there
so
too,
obsessed with the guitar.
Right.
I was so obsessed with the guitar that I wanted to be like, all I knew was that this is
Did you show that to Gene?
No, I didn't have to.
You saw it.
He saw this.
Okay.
He goes, "Hey, is that an Ace Frehley tattoo?"
No way.
Yeah, it is. And then he tells me about what the fuck up Ace is. And then I'm feeling like, I gotta defend Ace. So I go, dude, he wrote some killer guitar solos. You could sing those fucking solos. He goes,
I've always
You're right, he did. Then he goes, Shannon, check out, he's got an Ace Frehley tattoo.
That's
So then
hilarious.
I had to stand up for myself. I think you like that. Yeah.
I 100% agree. And I think that's...
Thanks for that, by the way.
I remember being a kid, and I remember them playing the Kiss Meets the Phantom movie on TV, and me and my brother just being like...
Oh my
It's
God.
weird because me and my brother... I have two brothers, obviously, but the one is so much younger than me that the two of us were inseparable, and then another one came along 3 years later. And, so all these shared experiences, and Kiss is a big one where we just kind of like... It was as if you were the right age, and I always say this, if you were the right age... You're just a fan for life, really. I mean, you sure. And there's times where you got mad at this, or my friends like, fuck those guys, or whatever period they were going on, whether it was the disco or whatever they were doing. Yeah. I never had that. Like, I've never really lost my love of Kiss, and I never will. I have a Kiss pinball machine. I have all the guitars. It's just who I am. Yeah. And I think that's kind of part of it. And it's interesting to be able to kind of like interact with Paul or Gene and be like. I'm a grown-ass man now. It's kind of like if I had to talk to, I don't know, Michael Keaton and go like, you were amazing as Batman. It's like, it's like you're kind of like talking to these childhood heroes.
Right.
But you've kind of put it in a perspective where I'm an adult, I'm in the industry.
It's through a different lens.
Yeah, it's different to me.
For sure.
They like you.
Well, I mean, I
and
appreciate
that's the flip side of careful
but it's
what you wish for.
But it's their fault. It's like, I always say that like to people like Pete Townsend or the Beatles or Kiss. It's like, it's their fault that I did not pursue a job and get an education.
Right.
And that I said, I'm going to do that. If it wasn't for them, I might have been, who knows what I could have
pretty
cured.
cool, right?
But, it's like, we all knew those guys that were like Rush fans and they hated us because we or didn't.
Or Zeppelin. It was always Zeppelin.
They shit on Kiss.
It seemed like.
And you're like, dude, I get it,
Yeah.
But I was the guy. I loved the Ramones, and I loved Cheap Trick, and I loved New York Dolls. I loved trashy stuff, and Kiss was something else entirely.
And you nailed it with the age. There was a zone there.
If you were in the right zone,
which we were in.
There, yeah.
Kiss, fuck, you're in. But if you're a little bit older,
right?
Kiss sucks,
And I always say the same thing. It's like, it wasn't just about fire and blood. And
absolutely.
Not
those
even
songs,
close.
Those songs and their voices. We just the other day, we were riding from Calgary, or from Edmonton to Calgary, and me, Shane, and Zach were hovering around a phone listening to Hotter Than Hell, because we were talking about Peter Criss's voice, and we're listening to Strange Ways and going, dude, his voice is bitching back then. And it's like, I can't really think of very many bands that I would sit around just in this shared experience doing that with. The Beatles, we've done it with.
Right.
Zeppelin,
it's a short list.
But it's a very short list.
Yeah.
And you were the right age.
Yeah.
It stayed with you, and you know every note. You know every
The fucking
word.
Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Those
My
experiences,
eyes,
yeah.
I remember I was
watch
shaking watching it. Like, it was nuts.
But you had to be there and stop
Go
your
VCR.
day
Yeah.
and be
Present.
right there.
Present, exactly.
And then you couldn't just relive it the next day. The only way you did was tell your buddies, did you catch it? Did you watch it?
Right.
Oh, yeah, oh, crazy.
But that's also a technology thing, too.
Exactly.
Because I really think it's fascinating, because when we were kids, the only way you saw your favorite bands was in two-dimensional form on an album, or in a 16 magazine or something like that.
Yep.
So to see them on TV and see them like moving and being was
Or
like
talking.
Because now you can just go on YouTube and look up any band album.
Exactly.
Right?
There's
but
no
at
mystery,
the time, it was just like, well, that's Paul McCartney or whatever your thing was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of lost now.
What was your first Kiss show?
I didn't see Kiss until 85.
Animalize.
Animalize with Bruce Kulick.
Yep.
So that's shared
experience. Saw the day
all
apart.
these years later to play with Bruce, and I told him the other
Right.
day, I said I posted a picture from Regina, Saskatchewan, the Agrodome, of Kiss on Animalize. I go, this is my first picture with Bruce Kulick. It was just like the Kiss on stage and
Right
with a
on.
massive audience.
Who opened that? Queensrÿche, I think.
We had Dawkins.
Dawkins, so
You guys had.
He saw it. Regina, I probably saw it the day before or after in Winnipeg, and I was just under the radar for the Love Gun tour, which
I lived in northern Manitoba at the time.
See, I was in the Okanagan. It's not coming to Penticton.
I knew it came through, and I wanted to, but I was just a little young, so.
That was with Cheap Trick, too.
Love
and,
Gun.
and they would have been on, I guess, supporting Budokan or something at that time.
Oh,
that sounds about right.
So it would have been like both your favorite bands at like that perfect
and
moment.
pretty great records.
Love Gun was my first record. First Kiss album.
I think ours was Kiss Alive. I think ours was Kiss Alive 1.
Yeah, Kiss
It's hard
Alive
to know
1
because, when by the time we got into Kiss, they already had material out, so you were kind of like, it was like you had to go out and collect it all. Like,
Originals, I think, the 3.
Yeah.
That was mine.
Yeah.
I still have it. It's fucking worn out, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a great thing that they put that out, because I think those first 3 albums I still will talk about how important those are.
Dress
Even
to
though,
Kill is.
obviously they still kind of they still were doing amazing work after that. But for me, I always go back to those first 3 records. There was something really special about those. I don't know.
Oh, I agree. Even this shitty production of Harder Than Hell, I like it now.
We were just talking about that in the car because we were like literally listening to it like this.
Yeah.
And I was sitting around, and I was like, but you wouldn't want to change this production.
No way.
It would change the tone of the
The
album.
vibe would be totally different.
Completely.
Okay, Kiss Cruise. What I want to know is, how much fucking time does it take?
Are you gonna go my way? Is that what you want to know? All I want to really know is.
No. You want to talk about Lenny Kravitz? I love Lenny Kravitz. How long does it take to learn that many tunes? Like, you did a lot of medleys this time.
Yeah, we
That's
always
a lot
do
of fucking songs.
Bruce is big on medleys. Yeah, it's like we can. When you look at the actual set list of the show, it's really long.
Like, how long does
Some of those songs are in portions.
How long does that take? Like,
you know, we get pretty good at like, you know, we'd like to do a piece of this song and a piece of this song and a piece of this song. We don't want to do those in their entirety. Like we did an Animalize because Animalize had the 35th anniversary, so we thought let's try and just really kill some Animalize.
Fucking killed everything. You're tight as hell.
You know, but it's the right guys. You know, we do get together a lot. We do really focus on it, and not unlike Toque in that we give a shit. You know, we don't want to go on.
Clearly.
We don't want to go play in front of a Kiss audience and be like, we kind of know these songs, or we kind of, you know, we didn't really pay attention. It's the biggest reason why I, you know, at first I was kind of like, is it silly to have me sing Paul Stanley songs and have Zach sing Gene Simmons songs? And I said, no, I want it to be as close to the experience as we can kind of get.
And he nailed the Gene.
Oh, he's amazing.
Holy fuck.
Trust
I'm
me,
watching
Zach,
YouTube footage and it sounds great.
Zach would sing the Paul Stanley songs killer too. He's just, he's an amazing talent, trust me. But I really wanted to make sure that, you know, that they're getting the shared experience of like, wow, these guys they're doing it as close as we could possibly do it.
Right. Yeah. It's impressive, man.
No, I appreciate it.
And as far as like rehearsing and getting it together, we spend quite a bit of time talking about it and getting together, not like full band, but we have gotten together at Bruce, like recently we got together at Bruce's at least a month before and, you know, edited songs according like how
But
long
you
we
also
do this.
gather the right guys that you know are going to go home and like do the homework. So you just can't have the guy who kind of shows up at rehearsal and like, I didn't have time this week, I was playing softball. Dude, get out of here. You know?
You're gone.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's always kind of more a case of like, you got to have a guy who is going to go home and takes it seriously. And Zach's that guy, and Brent's that guy, and Bruce is that guy. But I mean, like, I watched Animalize uncensored every single day, 1,000 times a day. So then all those songs are just kind of like, you know, like all the Animalize stuff is just.
I love Gene's wig in that one.
He looked great. Yeah, that was a good look.
The songs were so fast.
Oh,
Crazy
way too fast. Holy shit.
But the energy was there. So, we talked about that. We were like, you know, because Bruce is familiar with how he used to play some of the songs, and then we discussed how are we going to play it now? Like, for me, because Alive 3 was some of our focus on this latest cruise, which is why we opened with Creatures of the Night.
And you're watching you as well, did you know?
Yeah, I'm watching you. Yeah. But it was like, where's the tempos fit in for some of these songs? And then stuff that never was played before. You know, Bruce, like, the year before, when we opened with King of the Mountain, Bruce was like, man, we used to jam that song really, really, really fast. And, you know, to open our show with that, it was just like this ripping guitar solo. He was like, let's not make it too fast because, you know, plus it had to be authentic too, because we love, like, just in Toque, what's the album tempo? What's the live tempo? Like, we're always thinking those things.
And it's about groove. You lose the groove when you start getting too fast. Sure. But I always appreciated it. I understand that Kiss probably in the 80s was trying to not compete, but, you know, there was a heavy metal thing going on. They wanted to be as heavy as possible. And so Eric was really good at adding that power. That, you know, he took it to a whole new place.
You guys are so good. Read My Body Doesn't Suck. That's how good you guys are.
That's been the overall thing. Is like they got people to sing along to Read My Body. I was like,
that is the worst Kiss song.
I don't know. It's a lot of heritage bands start doing that, where they're kind of like, they are who they are, but then they are influenced by what's going on. You know, like Bon Jovi or whatever's popular, so they kind of feel like they have to kind of, and that's just natural that happens. But there's even as a kid, I was always kind of like, or when those albums were happening, I was like, just be Kiss, you know, like, or even without the makeup and all that kind of stuff, just be Kiss, you know? Right? Because obviously, like Animalize and Asylum have 80s metal kind of leanings.
Well, Lick It Up
and
has some fucking rockin' tunes.
Lick It Up still.
Like, Not for the Innocent, Give Me More. That's my favorite non-makeup album, probably. And every album, like, by the time Hot in the Shade came around, I was hanging on by my fingernails, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
as hardcore as I am. And then Revenge was a bump. I think it's a bit overrated, personally, but, I mean, it was a definite chip in the right direction.
I always kind of feel like, I mean, in retrospect, I feel like Crazy Nights is their most sort of like, we're really trying to get something happening
that
here.
production is so
It's so over the top, yeah. But I mean, you know,
We did play My Ways.
yeah, but those songs are
Right.
beloved. You know, you play those songs
Yeah.
on that record,
Oh,
people
yeah.
love those songs.
Another question on the Kiss Cruise. Any feedback from Gina Paul directly on what you guys do?
Story, yes. Last year's crew.
Oh, last year's, Paul's actually, I think, you know, I think Paul's a lot more sort of, you know, he's always a lot more aware. You know, I think he does, if it's of interest to him, he sort of watches. So yeah, we got a lot of positive stuff from him.
Right on.
I think for him, honestly, and I think I saying this only objectively without any sort of real, you know, knowledge about it, but I would imagine it must be seem really interesting for all these songs that you've written and recorded, and he produced,
Right.
he produced, you know, Animalize, he co-produced Asylum. So
Well, he took over the band.
yeah, so so there's a particular phase of that band that was probably really special for him, and to hear it, you know, some guys who actually really care about it to do it, I'm sure it's probably got its, you know, it's got to be an awesome thing to see. I think I would feel that way if I went and watched somebody play a bunch of old music of mine. I'd be like, oh wow, cool, you know.
Yeah, that had to be gratifying, no doubt.
I mean, it's hard to say, but he definitely was very positive about it for sure.
Now they announced the last show on that cruise, right?
Mm-hmm.
You all heard that. What do you hope happens there?
You know, that's actually a good question. I'm one of those guys that's like, I think that those guys should do whatever the hell they want to do. I think
Of
at this
course.
point. And I think that, you know, would I like to see something with Ace and Peter? Of course, we all want to see that someday. I just can't see them in the full gear going like, ladies and gentlemen, Ace Frehley, have him come walking out in what? In like his fucking Love Gun costume? I mean, it just seems crazy to consider. I mean, anything's possible. That's one thing we know about that band is as fans that anything is possible.
Like for me, the last time they're on stage, I hope it's the original four guys. Somehow, even if they just do 2 songs, like if Eric and
That would be
Tommy
wonderful.
leave the stage and they come out and Ace and Peter come out and make up and do 3 songs.
I mean, that'd be
I would dig
wonderful,
that.
but
But I don't see it
I
happening.
wouldn't hold your breath, but I think at the same
no.
time, it's kind of like that would be really an awesome ending. But those guys, we know Tommy and Eric, so it's kind of a whole other thing. And I love those guys. I respect those guys
Of
to the end,
course.
and I think
absolutely.
they, you know, Eric's been in that band longer than almost.
Yes, he has.
He's like the 3rd longest member of Kiss.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, but yeah, I agree. I think that there's so many ways that they could wrap it up. And it's, you know, I'm actually excited just to see whatever the hell it is, whatever they're
Right. It might be cool to do a Central Park massive thing other than like a week at the Garden.
Wow, that'd be cool.
Whatever, right?
Like when the Ramones wrapped it up in L.A. It was like, what?
Yeah,
The Ramones
why
had the final
there?
show in L.A. We were like, what? That just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That was their final show. That's another band that was like, that's it. But of course, Joey died, so it was kind of impossible
Right.
to imagine any sort of reunion. But
Some guys are not replaceable. I would
Yes,
say.
yeah.
Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right?
I really don't believe we have this could spiral into Motley Crue anyway. But it's
Yeah.
like I really don't believe anybody's going anywhere when they say they're going anywhere. You know,
Yes.
from the last time there was a farewell tour
Yeah.
to now at the end of the road. I
There's
feel
a long
like
list. Yeah.
I'm the one
immediate
saying.
response from the media for sure was, really? We
Yeah.
didn't believe it.
Well, I kind of feel like, and I've been saying this the whole time, is that 2023 is the 50th anniversary of the band. And there's no way those guys aren't going to like do something.
That's a
for
good
that,
point.
You know, and I know that's far away, but yeah, you know what? 2020 seemed far away. At
Health
one
issues
time.
aside, you're probably right.
I understand that those, you're pushing 70 and you're wearing that crazy gear and singing those crazy songs, and it's all challenging. But if anybody's going to do it, it's me, those guys. So part of me just kind of feels like for the last show, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't believe it's the last show. So it's kind of like one of those things like,
Right.
mind you, I've made this mistake. I've made this mistake. I think Rush is the only band that we can really say that might be it.
Almost the Police, because they waited so long. So almost. But yeah, Rush is the only one.
That's the only one that I really actually believe that might be like, nah. But even them, I think that there might be something down the line where there'll be like a celebration of 2112's whatever anniversary or something that they might be like, because everybody misses playing music. I don't care who you are. Neil Peart's going to one day go, you know what, guys? I'd like to just get together and jam, even if it was just like something. And I think that, I get it that age is a factor and all those kind of things. But I think that, the Kiss is probably the one band that will have a hell of a time hanging up those shoes.
Well, and I don't buy, it's about the money. Sure, that's always a factor. But I just think they fucking love it. Maybe I'm naive.
Of course they do.
Even Motley, they've got, they're worth fucking $100 million each or whatever. I think they're bored, and that's what they do.
And it's legacy. You want to be able to go out there and say, we're here, man. We're back. We're relevant. We got something to say. We got something we want to prove that we still matter. You know, and I think that, you know, I didn't believe Motley when they said it originally.
You know what?
Only
I
because
kind of did, and I feel fucking nice.
I'm only saying
that was the end of it?
Well, they were so adamant.
Yeah, I know.
With the contract and shit. I'm like, and I wanted that to be it, honestly.
There's a part of me that's just kind of like,
they break the rules.
They
blew it up.
They blew it up.
Fucking blew it up. Because we're Motley Crue.
That's right.
Favorite album released this year?
I had the Dirty Honey song stuck in my head for a while, and
That's a good one.
I had Phil Campbell's CD.
Oh man, that fucking album rips.
Yeah, that's great. There's a new Michael Monroe record that's great, of course.
Yep.
He always delivers.
Oh, he's solid all the time.
Always, yeah.
First album you bought with your own money?
City Rollers, Rock and Roll Love Letter.
Nice.
But that was a Beatle, Kiss, Cheap Trick, all like the same thing.
I think mine might have been like Love Gun. Or, I mean, Alive One. I think I definitely had all the Bay City Rollers records, but I think that was kind of like, Mom, can I, you know,
You're right.
please? Yeah, this one. You can get one. This one.
Yeah.
First concert.
Loverboy with Bryan Adams opening 1983. He was on the Get Lucky tour.
I went and saw, the Headpins and Toronto at the Corral.
Walk Up
in
Your Son's tour.
I was there. Yes, I was. It was, what, $12 a ticket?
The next time I saw them, it was the Headpins headlining, and Helix was opening. And I remember, like, Brian came, like, somersaulting on the stage, and we're like, who's this guy? And we loved those guys immediately right there.
I did see the Van Halen 84 tour, which was...
I got Fair Warning.
was my first.
No way.
Yeah.
What a way to start.
Oh my god. Like, I don't remember concerts
Everything
I
else
saw
must be
5 years
downhill
ago,
from there.
but I fucking remember that one vividly.
That I would love to have seen the Van Halen right around there, like before 84, where they were like clearly the best band on the planet. Like there was nobody could compete with
Unreal.
these guys.
They opened up with On Fire, and Roth comes off the kid. It was just fucking go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see that old footage of them that's resurrected?
Yeah.
Holy shit,
insane.
that's fun to watch.
They're impossible. No one could touch those guys at that time.
I just never knew he thrusted his pelvis.
Oh, he's just bumping it,
as
man.
much as I've seen in
He's almost like a tick or
5 minute reels.
He's leaned with it.
He leaned in hard.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like he's going to put his back out. Be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
He did.
You never thought anything of it back in the day.
No.
Not at all.
Perfectly acceptable.
But now it seems like, wow, that is way out of...
Yeah. That's
And remember thinking,
too much.
oh,
Non-stop.
Dave's hammered. Well, you're not hammered jumping off the kit like that. There's no fucking way.
You might have been high. Like he's probably smoked a lot of weed.
Business.
Showbiz.
But it is showbiz. Yeah, he always had that kind of California, hey, kind of like that whole thing. Like
You guys make Texas look like Pakistan. Okay, Dave. Like
Funny
he said,
how like our heroes back then were always shirtless. Like
Oh, yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Stanley and
Yeah.
Dave Roth had
With
hair
all
loops.
the hair.
Yeah.
and we put the posters
No
up.
manscaping.
We were very
No
cool with that
manscaping
being on our
was-
walls. Yep.
Right.
Okay, your Gene Simmons moment. Let's plug some stuff. Anything you want to plug, or you got some gigs coming up, or?
We just announced today a New Year's party at Estevan, Saskatchewan, the place of my birth, which
Right
is
on.
fascinating. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming up for Toque. We're doing Winnipeg at the end of the year after Christmas,
Yes.
27th, 28th. Well, that actually just was announced recently too, that we're always booked for the December 27th, but now we're booking a second show because we're so awesome.
Of course.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we're already looking at stuff for the summer. Of 2020,
Right on.
you know, so
I
it's
mean,
like-
yeah, people are digging
Yeah.
the band. There's no doubt.
They should.
It's been fun. It's been really fun. You know, we're about to go do one right now. So.
Yes, okay, check out ToqueRocks.ca, ToddKerns.com, BrentFitz.com. Okay, let's go with a fucking giver.
Pornhub.com.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Fucking giver!